It's been a while.
How's it going?
Doing good.
Love that pandemic. That was not very fun.
Maybe, I don't know. Some aspects of it were fun. Others weren't.
As you can see in the middle there, we have a special guest with us joining us for HHN 30 video.
My good friend Robbie.
Which we have now turned into an HHN freak.
Yep.
Yes, you converted me.
We finally.
He bought a pass last year and loved the event. Just eventually just warmed up to the houses. So
yeah,
now,
I originally brought him in 2014, but didn't really prepare him. So I kind of just threw him in there head first. It didn't really work out very well.
Yeah.
This time, we actually got him prepared by watching the videos of this year's event, what we can find, and preparing him for originals by having him watch past walkthroughs and all that stuff like that. So it eventually went from there. And opening night, we went for it, and he did very well. Did all 10 houses and enjoyed it. Now he's already wondering what next year's like. So he's now a Horror Nights freak like the rest of us.
But anyways, we're sorry we've been gone for so long.
Yeah.
Schedules were very crazy, and
It's not been doing very well.
You also had the pandemic going on, so things have been gotten a lot better since then. So.
And I think, like we said in our last video, there was no event for the year of 2020. They actually instead did a Horror Nights Light, as they called it, with 3 mazes that were open during the daytime, which we did not mention in our last video because those 3 houses came back this year. Due to the pandemic, they brought them back, so we pretty much got the event that we've been waiting for the 30th anniversary.
Yep.
But yeah. So,
and it was weird. It was weird, as you knew from the last video, us having 2 tribute stores. You saw that in the last video that we did about a year ago. So.
Yep.
And then we got another one. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Surprisingly, we got a new tribute store, which we will go into
later on.
But.
Welcome to Halloween Horror Nights 30. 30 years.
30 Years of Fear.
Yep.
Also known as Never Go Alone. And I believe there's a few more of them. I'm not sure off the top of my head. The biggest thing in Fear in 30 years.
Yes.
And then also there's 30 Years of Scream, which my favorite is still 30 Years, 30 Fears, aka Never Go Alone.
Yep.
But, I mean, they're both different taglines. I mean, I never thought we'd have Never Go Alone, but the reason we got Never Go Alone is because we shared, this event was supposed to also be shared with Hollywood, because since we skipped Horror Nights 30, with 2020, this year, coming up for 2022, which we're in now, will be Horror Nights 31 instead of 32, like it should. So we have to backtrack a year.
Yeah.
It's all confusing, but this pandemic really screwed us over.
It's going to be this way moving forward.
So technically 2020 was supposed to be 30 Years of Fear, and from what I found out, Never Go Alone was supposed to be 31. So who knows? I mean, maybe, I don't know. We haven't heard anything yet on this year. We won't get into this year yet.
Yep. But
we are in 2022 right now.
I'm just going to pretend that it never happened and just keep going on.
Yeah.
With it. Just keep going on.
So this year would have been 32.
But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get right into Halloween Horror Nights 30, guys. Tell you all the info, what happened, ticket information, all that stuff. So.
And we're going to let Justin start us off this time.
Okay.
I think.
So, as you know, this year was in 2021, last year event. We had a couple different catchphrases.
Which I just mentioned.
Which would be 30 Years of Fear, Never Go Alone. The biggest thing in Fear 30 Years.
That was an interesting one. I don't think it was ever used, but I think it was just like someone made that one up.
And then 30 Years of Scream.
That one has been. It hasn't been mentioned at the event, but it has been mentioned on the website. So that kind of came up on its own. And then
we had a lot of icons when you really think about it.
Yep.
Jack being the main one of the event.
Jack the Clown came back again to reign control.
We had also on there was Eddie, Usher, Caretaker, Lady Luck, Chance, Storyteller, Fear Director.
And the one that's not mentioned is Bloody Mary.
Yes.
Because she made a small debut in one of the houses, but physically she wasn't there. Audio-wise, listening and visual, she was there.
Yeah.
She was there in spirit.
There was a
All jokes aside.
thing about that, right? For Bloody Mary in 2008, something happened.
What?
I don't know. Nothing. I don't know why they.
How did that come up?
I don't know. Anyways, that was back in 2008. If you guys remember that year.
Good year.
It was a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
The dates ran from September 3rd to October 31st.
Mm-hmm.
On different select nights. The hours were from 6:30 to 1 a.m. on some nights, and 6:30 to 2 a.m.
On the peak nights,
depending on those nights. And, I'll let you get into tickets and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have the ticket prices for that year. They've really skyrocketed because, like Justin said, the pandemic hit. So Universal had to find a way to make up the money lost during the pandemic. But
Yeah.
overall, it banked. That was the year.
Yeah,
So a
that's
single
really
night admission started out with $70.99 for a single night ticket. Single night express passes started out at $69.99. I'm sorry, I'm gonna do it, but $69, dude.
Oh God.
The RIP tours were brought back that year, and they were $199.99. Now you can either do private, which you pretty much do it with your tour guide, and whatever you want to do, your tour guide will do, or you do a regular RIP, which is your group plus another group, and you pretty much do what the tour guide does. So, and it also came back was the Unmasking the Horror tour, starting at $79.99, which there's two tours. The other one, for some reason, was not listed, which is weird, but there was a 3-house tour, which you can do 3 different mazes, and then there was a 6-house tour, which was like $120 per person, but you do 6 houses, and it was like close to a 3-hour tour. So you did 3 houses, went on lunch, and then you did the next 3. And also they intermix like scare zones, the backstory of the event to show everything. So now we'll get into the multi-night tickets. This is where the prices really skyrocketed. I mean, this was painful for everybody, but it was well needed. The Rush of Fear, for the advanced price, if you ordered offline, it was $129.99. If you bought it at the gate, it was $149.99. So there's a big jump right there. Not much, 20.
Not too bad.
Rush of Fear with Express. Here's where the big jump is. Advanced price online, $399.99. At the gate, $419.99. So there's a jump. Frequent Fear, advanced price. Okay, this is the regular Fear. So you get Sunday, sometimes Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So you don't get every night with this one. This is the lowest tier as far as Frequent Fear passes go. But it was $159.99 online. At the gate, it was $179.99. Now, with the Express Pass option, here we go again. $459.99 online, $479.99 at the gate. The next pass, this is the one that we got. Well, wait, Robbie, which one did you get? You got the Frequent Fear, right? Without Express. Yeah.
It was without Express.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got the Frequent Fear Plus, which is the one that we usually do, which includes every day that I mentioned, but now it includes Friday. So Saturday is not included in this pass.
Correct.
So this one was $189.99 online.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it was... Sorry, I lost my train of thought here.
No, you're
$209.99. So $209.99 at the gate.
Yep.
So now here's where it kicks up. With the Express option online, $529.99.
Yes.
At the gate, $549.99. And then of course you got the mother of all Frequent Fear passes, which includes every night. That's perfect if you're a psychopath and you love Horror Nights as much as we do. You would get the ultimate Frequent Fear. With a price of, it was $284.99 online and $304.99 at the gate.
That's without Express.
Now with the Express, here's the big one.
This is the one that hurts.
Advanced price online, $729.99 At the gate, $749.99.
Ow.
So yeah,
Ow.
like I said,
My
that's
poor wallet.
But hey, for us fans who love Halloween Horror Nights, price doesn't matter to me. I'll pay it because I will get great use out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love going to the event very much. I mean, it's been this year for 2022 when it starts, it'll be my 18th Halloween Horror Nights
Wow.
in a row. And
You
for
say-
Robbie, it'll be technically 3.
It'd be my third
I
time.
think I'm on 16.
You're on 16.
Yeah.
So,
But
But-
let's go ahead before we jump into the houses and talk about basically what we thought of 30.
go ahead, you start.
No, I'm gonna let Robbie.
All right, then
over
let's let
here.
Robbie do it. He's the.
I'm gonna let
Oh,
Robbie
me? You
go.
want me to? You guys want me to start?
I'm gonna let you go first, and then
forgot
we'll
I grabbed
jump
my
in
drink.
after
Oh,
that.
okay.
So, what was your thought of Halloween Horror Nights?
Well, considering this is my first full successful of Howling Horror Nights, I have to say they did a pretty good job. I mean, I have been with Luke for a very long time. I've known him for over 15 years, and every year, I'm going back to my college days, but I've always listened to the audio and stuff, so I knew what the houses were. You give me the story of each house. I listened to him work on his audio project.
Yeah, those are fun.
And so I already knew what Halloween Horror Nights was. I knew what it was. I wasn't foreign to it. It's just that it got me a while to get used to jump scares and stuff because as a kid I didn't like jump scares for some reason. I know I'm weird.
That was me when I was little.
Yeah,
I hated people jumping out
so
scaring
I
me.
guess it took me much longer to get over my fear. But overall, I enjoyed Halloween Horror Nights. It's fun. It's everyone's in character. Like when you go through the houses, everyone just wants to have a good time. And I mean, I think there was one time. What house was it? This is my best funny. I have 2 funny moments. May I share those 2 funny
Yeah,
moments?
go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
The best was my favorite funny moment, and Luke actually told me about this.
Oh, yeah.
It was in Puppet Theater, and it was actually the first night, believe it or not.
Yeah.
The opening night, and he said I broke the guy's character.
He did.
I screamed.
It was great.
It
was
I broke a guy's character.
I got it on audio and I was just laughing.
My other favorite time was with Justin. Actually, we're going into Scary Ohio.
Oh god.
And the freaking meets guy comes out of nowhere at the entrance that.
That was a good scare.
I thought that was the best.
You never heard this. Never happened.
I had a pretty good. I mean.
Wait, can I finish?
Yeah. Go
Yep.
ahead.
And overall it was probably I had a great time with friends and everyone was supportive of me, trying to encourage me to go through the houses. They understood how scary it is. It's not for the faint of heart. And I actually conquered my fear. It took a while, but my friends were there to in case I needed to hold on to something or I was scared. They just said, keep going, you're doing fine, you're doing great, keep going.
I would usually stay behind Rob or have him stay behind me and just hang on and go through. Once he did the first runs, I mean, he was pretty much good to go.
Yep.
And every night that we went back, he got more and more used to where the people were. But every night the scares would be different, so you kind of had to prepare for, okay, what were they going to do to me next? But
Luke, I'll go last. You go next. Your thoughts on Halloween Horror Nights 30.
I was excited because I love the anniversary years. It kind of gets you, and I tell all my friends, if you want to start Horror Nights right, do it on an anniversary. Why? Because you get a taste of the past and a taste of the future, so you get to see both sides of the coin of what's going on. And like Robbie said, I had a few good moments this year. I think the one that got me was when we were going through Puppet Theater, which Robbie, as soon as you go into the house, there's a scare on the right-hand side. Well, as soon as Robbie goes in, he looks in, there's nobody there. As soon as I go to look in the hole, the guy jumps out in front of me and makes me jump backwards. I'm like, God! Oh!
And I'm just walking ahead just laughing.
And of course, we have a friend, we won't mention names, but he scared us very well in The Wicked Growth at the end of the house, which this person has won Character of the Year, so congratulations. And his house won. They won the House of the Year. But overall, the event was great. Aside from the COVID restrictions that they had, we'll get into that once I read off the milestones. It was it was very well done. It was very well received. I know a lot of people had negative feedback about it because of the COVID restrictions, but hey, you have to remember, we're still technically in COVID. We weren't completely out of it.
Yeah.
But we are out of it enough that the event can run in some shape or form, and it was I thought it was very well received. I really enjoyed it, no matter what they did. I mean, it was great. I really enjoyed the event. So, how about you, Justin? What did you think?
All right, so Halloween Horror Nights 30, it was definitely a very good year. It was up there.
Mhm.
And the event means definitely a lot to me. Like I said, I'm going on my 16 years now going to the event. And I think it means so much to me too, also because I also met the love of my life, Kira, who is not in this video, who's now my fiance. And we are engaged. But we started, really?
He said it, I didn't.
This guy was here and he doesn't even know.
I know, I was kidding.
Anyways, but then like I said, I've been going to the event with all my friends for so long. I've been going since for 16 years. I met my fiance there. The event just has a very big, place in my heart, and it means a lot to me. And every year, I can't wait to go back. But this year, in particularly, I thought it was like he said, we got to see things that basically set us up for the future. And we do have a little bit of stuff that has happened already, not a lot, but might put that a little bit in there at the end of the video here. But yeah, overall, it was a solid event. And I always enjoy seeing Jack come back, because Jack is my favorite icon.
Yep.
Eddie, also seeing Eddie.
Finally, Eddie gets
in
a
spotlight.
spotlight.
It was really cool because he hasn't really gotten a spotlight.
It was supposed to rule 2001, but 9/11 ripped it out. He had to change it.
But yeah, solid year.
It was very solid.
Solid year down the board. Yeah, it was very good. So, I'm gonna let Luke take over now with some milestones of the event.
So I spent almost last night going through this, trying to figure out the milestones of the event. I only have 9 of them this year, which it's enough, but it's something very, very, very unique. So our first one is, this is where we mentioned the COVID restrictions. It was the use of vinyls and plexiglass. Now, this choice was edgy, but to me, some of the scares, even with the plexiglass and the vinyls, it still got me. And then there's areas of the houses that didn't have plexiglass or vinyls, which I guess it was pretty much the actor's choice whether or not they wanted a vinyl in that spot or not. Because I've heard a lot of my friends say, they asked you, do you want a vinyl or do you not want a vinyl? Which a lot of the actors felt safe with the vinyls, because at the event sometimes you get the morons that run around. They're drinking. They're trying to start fights with people. They're spitting in their face. They're throwing drinks at them. And it's
get them out of here.
Exactly. But that was something that a lot of people complained about, because it said it ruins the scares because they like the up close encounter. But also, you need to think about the actors, because they're the ones that are in this. The guests are just there viewing. And if people would stop being inconsiderate and drinking and spitting and causing fights with people, maybe we wouldn't have situations like this.
If you're watching this video, if you're a person that does that, stop it.
Exactly. So our next milestone, our next milestone, a brand new tribute store. As you saw in our last video, it was we were supposed to get an original store, that you saw was the Bride of Frankenstein. There was the room devoted to Jack and the icons of Horror's Past.
Which I loved it.
Now, in the video that you didn't see, that the next week after that, they opened up the third and final room, which was supposed to be the Haunting of Hill House, which was a confectionery room where they sold cookies, glow-in-the-dark donuts, which is really good. And they have the beating hearts to make it look like they're gelatin hearts that would beat, which is really cool. And the final room, of course, was Beetlejuice, who was the big iconic house that was supposed to come in that year. And we all thought, okay, maybe they'll bring the same tribute store again. Wrong. They actually went bigger this year and devoted the entire tribute store to the 30 years. Everything. You walk in, it looks like you're walking into an old Victorian mansion, where pretty much all the icons reside together. They live together. So like the first room you entered, it was like the grand foyer. There was an organ playing, and on the screen above, as the smoke was coming out, you could see the faces of the icons, which was really
You'll get
cool.
to see all this in the video.
You'll see it in the video and everything like that. But the whole tribute store this year blew me away because I was expecting to see the same store. But when I saw a new entrance go up, I'm like, oh, maybe they just changed the entrance.
Oh,
But
they
no,
changed-
when we walked
They changed
in,
it all right.
they changed, like I said, they changed the whole thing. I don't want to ruin it too much, but we'll see it in the video. Our third milestone for the year was raised prices for tickets and express options. This was due to the pandemic. I mean, at the time, a lot of businesses were slowly dropping with this, but since the pandemic hit, after that, ever since things started to go back to normal, prices were raised up to earn back the money needed. And of course, Horror Nights succeeded 100%.
As I know, it always does.
But then again, like he said, every year it banks. Like it's probably their biggest moneymaker in the company. So our fourth one is the introduction to specialty food stalls around the park. Okay, due to the pandemic in 2020 for Mardi Gras. Excuse me.
Mardi
Stop.
Gras.
I'm sorry. 2021. This started with Mardi Gras. 2021's Mardi Gras, when we were able to do Mardi Gras again. We didn't have the parades. We didn't have the characters walking around. Instead, they had the floats parked on the sides of the parks, throwing beads at people. But the introduction was specialty food. There's stalls set up all over the park, each one themed to a different country or whatever. Same with this year. They did everything the same way again. And now this exact design has been implemented to every event that we run. During the summer, we have a taste of Universal summertime food, which is specialty food items. Not sure if they've set up yet for it, but I know they're getting ready to. And then Christmas, we also did specialty food items and drinks. But Horror Nights was really cool because they themed everything to the icon, to like whoever was there. Like, oh, there's a Texas Chainsaw one, which you'll see more of the food later on, but like each one, like Texas Chainsaw, okay, they had specialty food, specialty drinks, and a specialty dessert item. Each one devoted to that specific character. So you had like Beetlejuice, monsters, and the Wicked Growth, or not Wicked Growth, well, kind of the Wicked Growth. It was like Wicked Growth meets Scarecrow and all that. But then we have one for Tooth Fairy, which was like the candy apples, which were amazing. I tried one the first night and I fell in love with it immediately. And now
Chance had something too.
Chance had one. I'm trying to remember the other ones, but I mean,
I believe it was Chance.
Oh,
PB
Jack.
I think that
No,
was
Jack and Chance have one. It was the carnival one.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't
like-
it PB&J?
Deep fried.
Yeah.
Deep fried PB&J.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then they added other characters not really known for the event, like Dr. Panetti, who was the assistant of Chance and Jack in 2007. He had his deep fried Oreos.
Those were good.
Then they had the sugar donuts, which I think those were Tiny's sugar-coated donuts. And then Jack, of course, had I'll get into that later on. I don't want to ruin it, but you'll get to see photos of it. Our next one, Scare Actor Dining Experience canceled. Again, due to COVID, some things weren't brought back, and Dining Experience was one of the ones that was talked about because you're bringing a large crowd of people into a tight area and eating with no mask on. I mean, there was some toss and pull with this one, but I'm hoping maybe this year for this event they'll bring it back, maybe to some form or extent. Because now we're in 2022 and COVID's kind of like, it's still somewhat with us, but not as bad as it was the last 2 years.
Now
And
we're getting
happy.
closer to the endemic.
Yeah, we're hoping to see the end of this.
Oh, I like that. Endemic.
Endemic. Yeah, I like
No,
that.
that's what it's-
It's good. I
That's
like
what it's
that
especially
one.
called, the endemic.
We're gonna start something.
So the next one is the addition of an. I'm sorry, I just jumped one. That's okay. I'll do it.
Yeah. That's
Loads of new merchandise. Like Justin said, 2021 or 2020, we had a tribute store. It sold merchandise from like retro Universal's Halloween Horror Nights from the past. So like you had the original Fright Night shirt from 1990, the original Halloween Horror Nights shirt from 91. They had everything related to each of the icons and some of the IPs that we were supposed to have that year. But everything was loaded as 30 years, 30 fears, because that was originally the tagline.
Yep.
Then in 2021, which is the event we're talking about now, everything changed over to the Never Go Alone, because technically this was supposed to be the logo of 31 of Never Go Alone, because we were supposed to share that event with Hollywood. So all the new merch came out again, which, like I said, we're all wearing the shirts from the event.
Yep.
But like it was pretty much double the amount of merch that we've ever seen with Halloween Horror Nights ever.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen so much merch come out for an anniversary event. This one topped. Well, I think this one topped the most merch, and again, they banked on the sales for the merchandise. Like they blew the doors open.
Yep.
But it was amazing. The next one is the addition of a second tribute store. Okay. There was an old magic shop located in Islands of Adventure, right across from the old Sinbad Theater.
Yep.
It closed and nobody knew what was going on. Little did we know, as we walked by, we noticed that Halloween decorations on the windows started going up. And we're like,
What's going on
Okay.
here?
Then we finally got the announcement they are opening a all year round tribute store for Islands of Adventure, which is called the All Hallows Boutique, and each year, every holiday it changes. So like for Halloween, it's the All Hallows Eve Boutique. For Christmas, it's called the All Hallows Holiday Boutique. And then this year for Mardi Gras, the All Hallows Voodoo Boutique, which was themed to, I mean, it's still Halloween, like all year. Like Christmas time was Krampus and like dark gothic style Christmas, which was really cool.
Yes.
And they also sold like Halloween, like special Christmas merch for the holiday. And Mardi Gras, they did the whole thing based around basically some of the Universal monsters plus the voodoo, plus the Mardi Gras merch. But to do this, and now we found out that we're hearing that it's going to be an all year round thing. So this is going to be great because now they can sell the merch not just in one park, but now you can split it into both parks, because if someone's like, oh, well, I won't make it a chance to go to studios, you can also sell it in City Walk and also sell it inside Islands of Adventure. So now you're pretty much tripling the amount of merch sales no matter where you go, which was really good. The next one, oh, this one's my favorite.
Maybe I'll try to get a pick in there too for you guys or something.
We did signings with the official creative team and designers of Halloween Horror Nights. This was something that the Horror Nights creative team has been talking about for a while, and we got to do this. Justin actually has something very special that he has signed.
So when the signings kicked in, I wanted to wait for this part. Just move this so you guys can see a little bit here. Let's see. So they sold this hat. This was one of the merch items that you could buy. Midnight Syndicate came. So as you can see, Midnight Syndicate.
And that was going to be my last milestone.
Yeah. But Midnight Syndicate came, and they actually signed my hat, as you guys can see, on both sides. Then we have the Great Pardo over here. Let me see.
Each one of these guys is a specific designer who will either do artwork, design the houses. Midnight Syndicate's known for music, for past music of Halloween Horror Nights.
Kind of hard to see, but Mr. Mike Aiello is right there on the side. But basically, you get the idea. Basically, they all around signed my hat.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to all the signings. I worked very hard
I
on
didn't get
this.
to go to all of them. I went to like 3/4 of them.
But I went
had to
to
work the last
I went to
one.
pretty much all of them. There were some times where
Then again, I'm friends with them, so it's like whatever.
yeah, but basically the creative team would do signings and everything. Sometimes they would come multiple times, so I kind of came and saw them the second time, but there was the first time where I actually got my hat signed and everything. But all around the board, maybe if we have more this year for 31, I might just kind of get some more on there, you know, and deck it all out. But worked very hard on this. I'm very proud of this achievement.
And like I said, the last milestone is the signings of Midnight Syndicate. I've been listening to this group for years. They provided Halloween Horror Nights with music since the late 90s, 1999 I think is when they first started. And you would hear it no matter whether it be walking into the park, walking around the park, scare zones, shows, houses. I mean, some of the houses used it too. Well, I have been good friends with these guys for years, and they finally mentioned that they were coming down to do signings.
Yep.
because they were selling albums of the past music from Halloween Horror Nights, which me and
Beautiful.
Justin both got.
Beautiful vinyls.
Vinyl records, and it also comes with a digital copy of that album, which I use because I don't have a record player. But I was able to buy one of the records, the vinyl records, and I actually got it signed by them. They looked at me weird when I said, "Can you sign it on the actual vinyl?" Because what I did was I actually had the vinyl and the actual artwork framed in a glass in a frame, and I have it hung up in my room, and I showed them a photo of it. And I've been wanting to meet those two guys for years because I talk to them all the time on Facebook and social media, and they're always like, "Oh, here's what's new with our new albums. This is what's coming up." So it's pretty cool. But hats off to you guys. Midnight Syndicate is awesome. I love their music. Every year, like, I'm always looking forward to their new albums
That was the
and
first time
remembering the past.
That's the first time I ever met them too, when they signed.
That's the
my
first
stuff.
time I met them in person, but
Yeah.
I've spoken with both of them multiple times
That was really
online.
cool. That was
But
awesome.
hats off to you guys. That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
So, all right. Do we want to start off with the mazes?
Yes.
All right. I guess who wants to start this one?
Yeah, let's give you do it.
All right. Is Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Better not say it 2 more times.
I'm not gonna say it yet. The location of this house was Parade Building B79. The maze description read, "Enter the world of the original film, more twisted and terrifying than ever. Wander checkered hallways and through the model graveyard as the infamous bio-exorcist haunts you, taunts you, and torments you at every turn. It's showtime." And of course we have the artwork and a small teaser video, so
Yep.
we'll go ahead and jump into that real
Yep.
quick, and we'll be back to talk about the house.
See you later, losers.
In the history of Halloween Horror Nights, there has never been a creature more terrifying, more horrifying. From the darkest depths beyond the grave.
It's showtime!
It's a ghoulish haunted house featuring the ghosts with the most. Beetlejuice.
Showtime.
And that was the Beetlejuice intro.
Yes.
We're gonna start off with Robbie.
Me? Yeah. What did you think of Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was probably my second favorite house.
It's a good one.
I'll get to my first house when it does come down on the list. Which one was my all-time favorite? But I would say Beetlejuice was my second favorite because I've seen that movie as a kid, and even my parents love that movie. It's a classic. I was like 2 years old when that movie came out, but I didn't see it until I was like probably like
Yeah, I
5
was
years.
4.
Yeah, like 5.
88.
Yeah.
I was 4 years old when it came out.
Oh, you know what? No, I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah, because it came out in 1988.
No, I'm thinking of the house. When they first came here. My bad.
Oh, you're good.
Sorry.
But it was good.
No, I do remember watching the movie though as a kid, and it was a really good movie. Like I thought it was funny. But the house, they did a really good job with the house, just putting all the scenes in there. I mean, it was kind of backwards, kind of like you kind of started in the dead world, then you like moved to the attic, and then to like it's kind of like you were playing the movie in reverse.
Basically, you're just following the character of Beetlejuice, where the other characters kind of fell in.
Yeah.
Like, you're not really following the movie 100%.
Yep.
That's why they did it that way, because you're kind of following Beetlejuice.
I just thought it was interesting though how he kind of like going different parts. It's not like you're following the movie.
really well done.
But I thought overall I was a good house.
Your thought?
I enjoyed it because, I mean, we've been waiting for that one for how long?
Yeah.
Beetlejuice,
time.
because...
One of the
And of
original. One of
course-
the originals.
And then, of course, me and Justin got to see the house in 2020 when they opened it up
Multiple
the
times.
last week of the HHN Light, because of the contract, the way they had it set. They had to open it in order to keep it.
They were calling it 29.5. It was like a seasonal event.
We joked around. We have our own name for the event. We called it A Taste of Fear. HHN 29.5. Because you're somewhat still in 29 and you're not quite at 30 yet. So this is like a little break, like the midway point in between. So you're kind of getting a taste And Justin uttered the name A Taste of Fear, which I don't know how you came up with that one, because I know your design that you did was a dental blade cutting into a tooth, where it looked like the tooth was cracked. And I was like, oh, tooth fairy, that's perfect.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
taste
yeah.
of fear, so you're tasting the blood
Yeah.
of fear. But no, the house, yeah, like he said, we went through the house like 8 times. I think throughout the whole
Multiple
weekend.
times or whatever. I mean, that was also due to some people that we knew too.
Yeah.
So
But we really, I enjoyed the house. I mean, the Beetlejuices throughout the house did an amazing job, especially the 2 that were improvising. As soon as you walk in, and he's already there making fun of people as you come walking in. And it was like, okay, that's a great opening to the house to have him be, and that was a creative room. That wasn't from the movie. The first room into the rotating vortex tunnel, which was a great, like you're going into the parallel dimension. And like Robbie said, the house didn't really follow the movie 100%, like scene-wise, but it followed the story of Beetlejuice. Like, okay, he's from the underworld. Then you go up to the real world through the attic. But walking through the sets was amazing. Like from the music, which was actually from the soundtrack. The character voices were all re-recorded, so they didn't use anything original from the thing. But the rooms. The one room that really surprised me was the dining scene. Because I was wondering, I heard it was in the house, the whole day, but I was wondering how they were going to do it. Because you can't scare someone going this way with a hand. You'd have to come up with another way, and they did it. They flipped it upside down. So you're possessed and on the ceiling of the actual thing, and the scares come from above you. So when you're walking, you hear that, you're like, oh, okay, all right.
and you hear Deo.
And you hear Deo, like we were sitting there walking through going, daylight
And
come
just a
down,
little
everyone,"
quick thing. Just a quick thing though, that was actually my favorite part in the house.
I agree. Yeah, that one.
I
would
it wasn't
agree, yeah.
scary. It wasn't. It was more like Beetlejuice was more that comedic
Cheesy
house, like the
kinda house.
cheesy comedic house. That because every year at Horror Nights we seem to have one. A few years I think we didn't have one. Like it was all scares.
Yeah.
But Beetlejuice was very well done, and they didn't really change much from 2020's version to 2021. They did add more characters through the house, like because in 2020, like I said, I mean it was during COVID, so nobody really wanted to scare
Yeah.
because they didn't feel safe about it or whatnot. But 2021 was loaded. I mean there were some walkthroughs where we went through and it was a little empty because they were in the middle of a cast change,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks because it's like, oh man, like you're expecting scares.
Yeah.
But overall, it finally, it's like Beetlejuice said, about time you losers gave me my own house. So Justin, how about you? What do you think?
Like I said, it was on my top or whatever, top 5 or whatever, and the table scene on the roof was my favorite, and it was a trending thing. With that year, everybody would literally do the conga.
Yeah, we'd start
through
doing
that
the
part
daylight
and listen to
everyone
Deo.
go home. Like
It was just something that we just always did when we went through the house.
I think the first time I went through that house, I almost cried when we went to that scene.
And-
Like when we were going through, we were like, oh God.
it was beautiful. It was a beautiful house. It was really good.
It definitely followed the world very well. And to my best friend who played Otho, amazing job as always, dude. You, he, like every time I walk through and he points me out, I'm like, okay, it's you. And of course to the Beetlejuices who used to call me out by name, that was fun.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for that.
Yep.
But all right, moving on from Beetlejuice, we are going to have Justin introduce us to the next house.
Big one.
That's if he can read.
Yeah, I can read. It's a big one, guys. It's a very big IP. As you know, we do have a kind of a relationship and a partner kind of with Netflix.
Yeah.
And we've done Stranger Things in the past, and we did. What was didn't we do another one besides? No, this was the second one that we've ever done. for
Yeah, I
Netflix.
think so. Yeah.
Because we did Stranger a couple of times, but
Twice.
we finally got The Haunting of Hill House. So that is gonna be. It was really good too. But let me get into the house description. It says, "It stands like a brooding creature waiting for its victims, entering the decaying remains of an aging mansion that lives. Even if all who dwell there are long dead." Step right into Netflix's supernatural masterpiece, The Haunting of Hill House. Each unsettling room, each darkened hallway takes you deeper and deeper into the worst nightmares. You come face to face with the tall man, the bent neck lady, the ghost in the basement, and more. Enter the red room and you may find yourself spending all of eternity listening to the sound of your own screams. And the house location was in B108.
And we do have a artwork and a teaser video for this one.
We
So
Go fuck.
and don't drink the tea. It's poison. I got sick last week from it.
And watch the tall man.
Be afraid of the dark. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. Leave. Don't go in there. Be afraid of the dark. Don't go in there. Leave. Don't go in there. Or you'll never leave. You're about to enter Hill House.
Okay.
That was quite terrifying.
Yes. Yes.
Very terrifying.
So the Haunting of Hill House, guys, was one of the biggest shows on Netflix, aside from Stranger Things.
Terrifying.
Well, the first time I saw it, it's absolutely terrifying. Like, there's scenes in there when you first saw the show that you wouldn't expect happening, and then all of a sudden you get this freaking ghost that's out of nowhere scaring the bejeebas out of you in the show. And they really implemented that a lot inside the house. I mean, you had literally the bit neck lady coming out of the walls and reappearing and then going back up, and then you see her on the other side. They don't really give you any breaks.
Nope.
There's just like glass shattering in the house when you're in there.
Windows.
You have the guy that got me the most was the guy
in the basement.
If you watch, if you watch the show, he's sitting there literally crawling like this, and he's on the floor, and you don't see him because he's just so sneaky.
It's a little crawl space. Technically, it's under the floorboards of the house.
Yeah.
It's like a small,
But
storage area.
every time he got me, and I honestly loved the house. It was also
Kira jumped a few times with him.
on my top, and they implemented something that my fiance does not like.
And I didn't tell her.
And this guy did not
She
tell
hated
her.
me.
And that is what we implemented in the last original house that we had the previous year, which was the
Graveyard
Gangs, which is a dark room. So basically, you enter this room, and you only hear voices in your ears. You don't see anything. It's completely dark. It makes you really cringe, and it's just, it's very unsettling. So, and for a lot of people, especially this guy, it'll do it. It'll do the job for sure if you really want to get scared. But it was an amazing house. Your thoughts?
This was your favorite.
Yeah, it's your favorite.
It was the most terrifying challenge, like I've said to you
All right,
before.
so just tell them what you thought of Haunting of Hill House there, bud.
Freaking terrifying. And this one wanted me to go first at one time.
That's right.
But
yeah.
you did do it.
I did do it. It took a lot of courage, but I did it, and I impressed Justin with that.
You saw the show, right?
Yeah, I watched.
We
a
watched
few
clips
episodes.
of it, remember?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I actually, one of my friends gave me on their Netflix to watch it. I watched a few
What do you think?
episodes. Pretty terrifying.
It's terrifying, yeah.
He was like, you want to keep watching it? And I go like, I think I'm done.
It gets scarier each episode.
No, I
It
only
just
watched like
picks
3
up.
episodes. I couldn't do it after that. It was too much. But
Yeah, you like the house
the,
there?
the house was pretty good. It did terrify me a lot though. Like it still terrified me. And that stopped me every time too. Like I knew he was gonna come out, but it just the way he moved was just so unnatural.
Quick movement.
Like
Yeah.
it just freaked me out. And the other thing I totally hated, and I always wanted to hold on to Luke or somebody because I hated the dark room, like with the noises. I just couldn't stand it.
The hallway of
It's just
sound.
well, the thing. See, I don't mind noises, but it's so dark, and you just think someone's gonna pop out at you.
Yeah.
That's why
like,
they
that
did
scared
it too.
me.
It's the terrifying.
And you know that wasn't gonna the case. I just had that feeling like something was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, the house overall, the house was pretty good. Just really that was probably the most terrifying haunted house I've ever been in my life. Like that, and there's a lot worse ones out there. I've watched videos of people signing waivers and stuff and going through these houses and stuff. So I mean, it's not. Call me weak if you want to, but I mean, it just scares the crap out of me.
Yep. Vote.
I mean, like Justin said, I'm a huge fan of the show. So the show really put it over, and I kept saying to myself, please let this be intense. Please let this one be intense. It lived up to its reputation. I mean, it felt like walking through a more scarier version of Disney's Haunted Mansion. Like, just walking through the halls of the mansion between the first room when you're walking through and all you hear is... You hear, like, the door handles jiggle. That definitely was, like, mansion style. Then, like he said, the windows shattering where you get sprayed with ice cold water to simulate glass. The broken neck lady coming through the walls because all you hear is the... And then, like, you see her drop out of the ceiling.
Tall man.
The tall man. And then, like, they were talking about the dark room, which they extended this year. Because originally, the first hallway, you see the bent neck lady coming down this way. So you're walking under. And then the second room with, like... And it's like, okay, you can't see nothing. But what I liked also was the final room. And I didn't notice until the last few nights. When the lightning flashed, if you looked, some of the walls were fake, and it looked into another room. So, like, when you looked on your right-hand side, there was a wall that looked like an empty hallway. And then when the lightning flickered, it was the you noticed the staircase. And I was like, I don't remember seeing that before. And then, like, at the end of the hallway, the grand foyer with the person sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
And the last thing that was really cool was the tall man, like you said. Like, in the first one, he was tall, like, but not really big. The second time you saw him, he was taller on stilts. The third time, this guy's got to be like 10 feet tall when you're walking out of the house. You're like, oh shit.
It actually
Like,
scared me a few times.
The music was all original to the TV show. Like, they played the main theme. Even the facade was beautiful. As soon as you walk in, I was just like, wow. I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell the amount of detail that was layered into this house. But like I said, it's kind of like walking through an actual haunted mansion. Like, this was up there. I'd probably say this house was up there with Legendary Truth Wyandotte Estate, with the haunted mansion style-esque feel. But overall, it was a good house. So, but next up, we are going to move into another house. This house has been at Horror Nights in the past twice. Our first incarnation was 2007 with the remakes. Yep. And we also had another incarnation that came back in 2006 based off the original. This version is a clash of the original three films slammed together in Universal's own creative backstory. And this one is known as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yep. Located in Soundstage 23. Can't remember if this was A or B. I don't remember, but whatever. The description goes, inspired by the 1974 iconic slasher film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Halloween Horror Nights mazes will depict a harrowing and intense experience as guests try to outrun the maniacal Leatherface, and his unrelenting chainsaw. Guests will embark on a killer journey through a series of familiar scenes from the film and eventually fall victim to the family of cannibals. From a dilapidated gas station to an eerie old farmhouse, they will witness unimaginable horrors around every corner, soon discovering that nowhere is safe from the demented Leatherface. Now we do have the wallpaper, and we do have the teaser trailer, so we'll get back to you guys after that. And whatever you do, don't disappoint Leatherface. Remember his number one rule: the saw is the law. If you do not bow down to the saw, well, he'll make sure you do. Oh, and one last thing. I thought you was in a hurry. And that was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This house, I'd have to say, out of the years that we've done Texas in the past, this one was my favorite.
Yeah.
Because not only did it include all 3 of the original films, it also included some scenes that were from Universal and Hollywood. Because Hollywood has had Texas Chainsaw twice, but with different names. They had Texas Chainsaw Massacre Blood Brothers, and they also had Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Saw is the Law, which was 2 converted houses. But ours incorporated new scenes from Hollywood, but also incorporated scenes from our 2016 house, if you remember some of the rooms.
Yep.
But overall, the walkthrough was amazing, starting off with the classic gas station, which is amazing. And a little fun fact that I found out from one of my friends who did VIP, the gas tanks, as soon as you walked into the maze, were from the original Jaws ride at Universal Orlando. Rest in peace, Jaws. But it was a nice little add, a nice little touch, because every time we walked through, I would walk up and go like this to the gas tank. Like, I'd put my hand on it and be like, Jaws, we miss you. Like, as a little remembrance. But walking through the smells, like the smell of cut meat and bacon on the grill and whatnot.
Rotting corpse.
Like walking through the junkyard with the pigs jumping out at us, the hallway with Leatherface throwing the chainsaw up against the glass and you getting shattered with the glass. A lot of that was used this year in a lot of houses, the glass shattering effect, which was kind of like unique because it was like, okay. And same with like I said, the classic scenes walking through like where you saw the staircase. In the original 2016 house, we went this way and then we went left into the dining hall, which was a room that went around in circles.
Yep.
This time we went through the actual butcher door.
Yep.
Because before they just had the character jump out of the door and jump out to scare you. They didn't have that this time. Instead you walked in, made a left, Leatherface was in front of you,
Yep.
and as you went left, you went into the actual meat, into the basement.
Yep.
So that was cool. Then you got to see the psychedelic room, which is from, I think it was Texas 2, where Grandpa listens to the psychedelic music and with all the bright colors and all that. But they had everybody. Grandpa, the cook, who was one of our friends' character. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I'm sorry, bud, if you're watching this. They had Chop Top. Chop Top was in the house. He was from Texas too. But like I said, incorporated the whole family. And then, of course, you go out into the junkyard, which there was a scare that we haven't seen since 2017, and that was the car honk from Carnival Graveyard in 2017. Or was it 2018. Or was it 2017? I don't remember. All the years sort of blend together.
One of the 2 years.
But overall, not much music was used in this house, except for maybe 2 tracks. I don't remember the one in the psychedelic room, but I know it was a classic piece of music. And then when you walked into the gas station, they were playing the song from Texas, which was I can't remember the names of the songs now. Whatever. I can't remember his name. But no, like I said, the theming of it was very well done. This one had a very unique smell. You can smell it as soon as you walked in. You're like, yeah, okay. I know exactly. But now we're going to move on to Robbie.
What do you think of Texas?
It was pretty horrifying, but it wasn't like the only things that got me were when Leatherface would come out with a chainsaw. I mean, it was cool, but it would always get me. I always loved how sometimes it wouldn't come to me, but then Luke would be behind me, and he would go after Luke.
Or if the ones that like I went through and they recognized me.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Go after me.
So, the one thing that really scared me was like the pigs in the junkyard. Like
Yeah.
Like they would spray at you too. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, ah!
They snort out water.
They
Yeah.
snort out water. Was that? And I mean, some of the rooms were pretty. Like the one that really like the room that not scared me, but it was like gross, was like the chicken room. Like that room was just you could just
the sofas and everything, the feathers. It was like pneumonia and chicken. Like
I know
pneumonia
it was
stuff.
weird. But overall, I thought that house was pretty good. They did a really good job, and I like how they like stuck to like the movies too.
So. By the way, before I forget, I remember the song "Deep in the Heart of Texas," Gene Autry. That was the one that was played in the gas station. I just thought of it now.
And what about you, Justin?
Yeah,
What do you
Justin.
think?
Yeah.
Texas.
Where do you begin?
Texas was good. I actually, like I said, like Luke said, this was actually my favorite one out of all the ones we used. What are you doing? Gotcha. Anyways, this was one of my favorite Texas one that we've ever done. Just like he was saying, it incorporated a lot of the stuff that you want to see between all of the ones we've done and the main characters and stuff. And it also symbolizes one of the best Horror Nights things that you can use, and that's a chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
no,
Horror
very-
Nights if you wanted a description of Horror Nights, the
Every
one
year.
item that it symbolizes Horror Nights is a chainsaw.
Just the sound, the smell of the gas.
And
the
I also
smell of-
like even when I watched the trailer for this, is that creepy.
Oh, the photo thing.
Yeah, that creepy thing, that creepy sound
Yeah.
or whatever. Like it's just awesome. And
They actually use that with a tuning fork with a soldering iron.
Yeah.
They put it against the tuning fork, went, and then they dragged it.
Little
So
fun fact. Little fun fact there.
So-
But my favorite scene from the house though is when he when you're walking straight ahead and he comes out the door basically and does the thing with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
That was my favorite scene in the whole.
There's one
So.
scare I wish they would have done in the house, but I know they wouldn't because it's not safe. Is at the end of the movie, if you remember when he gets really angry because he can't get the girl, he starts taking the chainsaw in one hand and swinging it in circles.
Oh my god.
But there's no way he would be
I
able to
love
do
that.
that. That's not safe though because, but no. But like I said, like me and like we were saying, what we liked about the house is the fact that it takes from past mazes and puts it together, but Universal created a different backstory. Yes, it's based off the movies, but also it's Universal's take, and also our next house, which we will get into, also is its own take, not based around a movie,
Yep.
but also its own take of it. And Justin, we are gonna get it now.
All right, y'all want the next maze? This is going to be is this an original or
No, it's an IP.
This is an IP.
It's Universal.
It got confused. From
A
time
lot
to
of
time.
people think it is an original,
It
but
is.
I mean, it would be original considering it's Universal based, but even then, Universal still has to get permission to
Yeah.
do the movies.
But anyways, it is the Bride of Frankenstein Lives, and it was one of our IPs. The house location was in Soundstage 23, and it did also make its return from 2020.
Yeah, this is one of them.
Because we had 3 houses. This was another one alongside Beetle. So it made its return, which we called 29.5.
Yep.
But the house description of this house reads, at its core, Halloween Horror Nights is an extension of the horror film legacy, or originated by Universal Pictures, and the event continues to honor its blockbuster history with a haunted maze highlighting one of the studio's most sinister creatures, the Bride of Frankenstein. Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives picks up where the 1935 classic film, The Bride of Frankenstein, left off, thrusting us into a chaos as the bride becomes an unstoppable scientist and begins her mission to revive Frankenstein's monster. Her unwavering quest to find internal life will come at a cost, and guests will soon find themselves entwined in a frenzied battle in their daring attempt to escape. We do have
an
a
artwork and a teaser
Yeah,
for this one.
artwork
so
and trailer.
we'll see you. And just remember,
We belong dead.
Too late, we already did.
Anyways, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. As we said before, we let you guys watch that wallpaper in that trailer. This is one of the houses that made its return from 2020,
It was a
which they
good
were
one.
calling 29.5.
This is the one I ran into a wall.
Yeah.
2020.
And this house was really good. Anything they do with Universal Classic Monsters, it hits right in the heart, especially the fact that Universal means so much to us. So anytime you see the classic monsters, this is basically their baby, you know. But when you walk in, the house I feel got better and better over time in the event, because when it first started,
Characters are still getting into
they're
their
still
roles.
getting in
They
their
don't,
groove, and
yeah.
they're still getting like
They gotta
used to
find
their
their role.
used
Yeah.
to their part. But when this house started rolling in the end of the event,
Oh,
oh
they
my
were
god,
blowing people
You
away.
did a good job.
they destroyed me. They literally destroyed me. Like, but you got to see, you know, let's see, you saw Frankenstein a couple of times in many different forms.
Bride, or the monster.
Yeah, the monster itself, Frankenstein. And then you saw vampires.
Yep, the Dracula's brides.
And they were all in a bunch of like prison cells and stuff like that. So there
It
was
was pretty
many different
cool.
things that were implemented in it, and it just had that classic feel to it. And I loved that. So it was actually on my top as well. Loved it. It was good. Robbie?
Bride of Frankenstein, it was pretty good. Wouldn't say it's my all-time favorite. Was my all-time favorite house, but it did have some good scares. I remember one scare that, you know, for the longest time we'd gone through the house like multiple times, and I'm like, I was getting used to it and stuff. There was like a vampire in one of the coffins. They're always laying there. I thought it was fake, and
Yeah.
then there was one time we
the
went to the
coffin
house,
room.
Yeah,
and she burst out. And I'm like, what's going on? I thought that was fake.
That's what they want you to think.
No, they did a really good job with that one. Like, it got me good. And but overall, I even though I don't think we even saw that movie, but we've seen some clips of it. But
Yeah, we tried to watch
I
the
couldn't
movie,
fully
remember, we couldn't find
understand
it.
the whole story, but I kind of got an idea what she was doing. She was kind of like trying to revive the.
Because the house picks up after the first
Yeah, it
movie.
picks up
It's
after the
Universal's
movie.
own story.
I got that idea. I was kind of
Yeah.
like, so it's kind of like continuing something from the movie,
Yeah.
and she's trying to bring back her love, I guess.
Yep, the monster.
That's what.
Good.
Your thought on the classic?
Like Justin was saying earlier, the fact that Universal's taking the original films and making them into something new. I mean, we're not seeing, like, yes, we're seeing the original characters, but more scary, more modern day. And it seems like that's the new thing in order to bring back the monsters. And Bride, like I said, no exception there. I mean, she was terrifying between the blaring music of Nine Inch Nails, surprisingly. As soon as you enter the house, it's the original score from the movie playing, and then as you get through each of the rooms, it gets more blaring, more defying, and just the original backstory of, okay, the bride, it literally, like you were saying, it takes place as soon as the movie drops off. The castle explodes, and the monster is, of course, dead by being killed by a large beam. And the bride is horrified and tries everything in her power to follow what Dr. Frankenstein did to bring the monster back to life. In which she needed to find new body parts, piece them back together. But the one thing of immortality is, of course, Dracula's bride's bloods. Like, their blood is the secret of immortality to make him more like he can't die.
Yeah.
So, the harrowing search of trying to capture the brides, trap them, and take the blood from them, and use that as the main ingredient to bring them back,
Yeah.
was quite unique. The scenes were amazing. I mean, like, walking through the castle, the different rooms with, like, the body parts, and stuff like that, sorry. And then, like I said, also knowing people in the house, like the one room I remember he was walking through, and my friend would jump out and, like, touch me on the side of the face. She was a bride, or not a bride, a Dracula bride. So she pretty much would do that every time I walked through. And one of my friends who was the Frankenstein monster, he would, like, just walk up to me like this and just stand in front of me, and I'm like, okay, you want to play this game? All right, see how you want to. What I like cool is it's as soon like I said, it picks up as soon as the movie. So again, the castle's exploded.
Yep.
Like you see on a visual screen the video of the castle just.
And I love this.
And then the first scene, it's literally the rubble. You can smell the fire. You can smell the brimstone from everything.
which that smelled good.
And like I said, the deafening music of that heavy rock of Nine Inch Nails. When I started tagging the music, and I thought, wait, how does this fit in with? But then again, I remember this is Universal's new take on the monster film, so why not give it a more harrowing soundtrack? But
I also love the scenes too when they're trying to save his life.
yeah,
Just
bring
adding
him
that.
back to life.
And then you guys just saw the trailer. That was one of the best trailers they released for this year.
I agree.
My fiance absolutely loved
What
that trailer.
I loved about the trailer is the fact they shot it in black and white, but what was cool is how all the color is gone
Yeah.
except for the blood. Anything blood related was bright red. I'm like, that's cool.
And the fact that she's literally doing one
Because it
thing.
simulates that it's the key.
Yeah.
The key ingredient needed. You need the Dracula's bride blood in order to bring back this monster, and it shows it in the trailer. Like, okay, where she's grabbing the throat of the bride while trying to save
That's my favorite scene.
her love. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like
Like, not gonna happen. Not in my
it
house.
was great. But she's also, yeah, like Bride of Frankenstein's an iconic figure. But the next house also brings some iconic figures. This one for me is probably my number one favorite original for the year. Actually, I had a few of them. There's like three or four originals I like this year.
This one hits hard though.
This one is HHN Icons Captured. It was located in Soundstage 24. The house description reads, over the last 30 years of Halloween Horror Nights has introduced a murderous row of original characters. Now they've joined forces, some newly risen to true icon status, to form a monstrous hell of fame. Taunting and terrifying you at every turn, you'll meet Jack the Clown, the Storyteller, the Caretaker, and many more, all in one house for the first time ever. I can't talk today. As you search for escape, you'll encounter tormented victims as well as each iconic demonic superfan. Who's the most evil of them all? Depending on when you visit, a different icon will reign supreme. And we actually have a wallpaper, and this is the only original maze to feature a teaser trailer.
Yep.
So it's your time to be iconic.
Yes.
Good luck.
For 30 years, they've haunted your thoughts, plagued your nightmares, tortured your imagination. Now they're all back to make your most twisted dreams a reality. We're back. And this time, it's all of us! Together for the first time in one terrifying haunted house. HHN Icons Captured.
And that was Icons. And let me tell you, this house, there's a lot. This is, like, it means a lot to us fans.
Big
Because
one.
these icons are from the past. Like Jack 2000, Caretaker 2002, 2003 is the director, and so on. But my immediate moment walking into the house for my first time was, my
Wow.
immediate reaction was like, oh crap. What in the hell are we getting into? You walk in and it's the lantern with the doors open, and in front of you is the symbols, the actual totems
Yep.
of the icons,
That's awesome.
plus two new ones, which was Chance and Lady Luck.
Yep.
So, and like the backstory of this house was basically fear has captured all the icons, but while being entrapped in this lantern, they each made a portion of the lantern their own. So like, you walk into Fear's room. Okay, Fear's room is the main center of the lantern. You're pretty much entrapped where he has a lot of the icons locked in place.
Yep.
But they're still able to go to their own place. You walk into Lady Luck's room. It was the casino. So basically, you saw the wheel with the person up against it. There's another scene, another death that we haven't seen in a while, which was the pendulum. The guy getting ripped apart with the pendulum.
And you got the wheel.
We got the wheel, and then what was cool is how you transition into the next room. There's a slot machine, which would roll 3 cameras.
Yep.
And you step through the curtain. Okay, you're in the bathroom set of the director, which I haven't seen the bathroom kill since. Well, the last time it was in a house was 2004. It was Horror Night Nightmares, the original Nightmares house.
Before my time.
But what was cool was each character, they edited like audio tracks from like the past shows or some of the trailers that they had, because some of the icons didn't come back to read. I mean, then you go into. But what was neat is how they all transition. So like you go from the backstage of a movie theater into the theater, which was the usher.
Yeah.
So it was cool how everything kind of like spilled into one another. I mean, of course, Usher bashing a patron's face in with a flashlight because he doesn't like people disrespecting his Palace Theater. With another guy sitting in the back row with a bag of popcorn shoved down his damn throat.
Let's all go to the night.
Hearing "Let's All Go to the Lobby" walking through, but what was unique is on the video screen it was playing the director's film.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool. And then the second room, the smell of popcorn, walking into the concession stand,
Great.
with him diving over the track, diving over the concession stand.
Yep.
Into the caretaker's mortuary, which
Oh my god.
we haven't heard the, like, you would hear the coffin and be like, "Hey, I'm still alive, let me out of here," which I haven't seen that since 06,
Yep.
which
That's-
was Sweet 16,
That was my first
Scream
year.
House,
That was my first year.
to entering the autopsy room, which is the most iconic piece, where the bodies are chopped apart, and of course he's got a body being worked on, and
The smell of
the
roses.
smell of roses in the mortuary, but in the autopsy room, it smelled like body parts. But what was unique was the iconic line in that room, which is probably one of my favorites. It was used from Horror Nights 2006, The Arrival, where in the show originally, he cuts open a guy and he starts doing his eeny, meeny, miny as he's pulling out the different organs, and finally he gets to the part and he goes, "Mo," and then it's like, this person has no heart. But what they did with this one is he took his shears and cuts open a body and then grabs the heart with the shears. He goes, "This person has no heart," and he's looking at it like this, and of course as he pulls the heart out you get sprayed with blood.
Yeah.
And then of course the final room in his room is body bag room, where he just jumps out and he does his classic like just his classic laugh. And then you enter the storyteller's room, which is you're pretty much following the original commercial where she's reading a story before killing the person on the bed of nails with an anvil. But they introduced something from the original story. The storyteller was a shapeshifter. We didn't know this. This was a part of the original storyline that was cut out from 05. And they added it back. So you see her take her head off and take her clothes off, and then she turns into a winged demon and flies across us. And when she finally pops out, it's her as a demonic storyteller. It's like, whoa, that's unique.
He wants to tell a story.
And then of course, the next room. The next room is actually a unique one because it was based off of an urban legend. In 2008, we had Bloody Mary. She was not present in this room because obviously we can't use her. At the time, we couldn't use her because of the rights, but we were able to somewhat hear her. So as you're walking through, you hear her talking in the background like, "Oh, Lieutenant, I have strapped you down. You cannot fight against the straps." Like, just, it was when she's in the website when she's torturing her victim.
Yep.
But all in all, as you're walking through this room, there's glass mirrors, and you're like, okay, it's just mirrors. All of a sudden, all you hear, and like you'd see like heads with glass shards stuck in their face. It's like, oh shit.
Yep.
Okay, that was like freaky. While hearing the classic, like the Vivaldi, like kind of like doctor's office music.
Yep.
And then, of course, the next room, you go into Shady Brook Asylum. You go into Psychotherapy,
Yep.
which the first room is all the artifacts from like the past icons, which was really cool. Each of the doors mentioned one of the icons. And then you enter one of the rooms, and it was Jack standing up on stage, which looked like a portion of the Carnival of Carnage. And right across from her in a padded room is Chance. I mean, they're both in one room,
Yep.
which was neat. But I think the real sellout of the house is the ending. Like, every 45 minutes, every set change, there would be a new icon. So it could be Caretaker, Jack, Chance, Usher, Director,
Yep.
Storyteller. Anybody could have been on. Lady Luck could have been on the was on the throne a few times.
Yeah.
And the final night was actually unique because the guy that we know who plays Jack was actually on the throne with the megaphone yelling at people through the final set. Like, thank you guys for visiting, yada yada. And that was the highlight. But overall, the house was very unique. From the original music tracks to the blaring metal, hardcore music when you walk in. It was like, you walk in, all you hear is doom, da, doom, 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 da. You're like, what the hell am I getting into? But here's the fun fact about this house. And before I pass this on to Robbie, what was really neat is in the house, it says that superfans were caught and killed. If you notice, each of the bodies in the room wore a shirt resembling that year that you were walking into. So like, oh, the people who were getting killed in Lady Luck, they're all wearing 21 Entertainment shirts.
I didn't even know that.
So
Yeah,
in the director's room, the two bodies, they're wearing the creative design shirts from Horror Nights 13.
Yep.
It was really unique. Like I said, this house was this is the superfan house, and everyone. Same with the props in the house. Like, you can recognize, like, okay, when you walk past the usher in the concession stand, there was the old tape recorder that was used for the media event, which had Patrick Brailer's voice talking about, oh, I'm walking into the Palace Theater now, and it's like, okay, there's a box of popcorn waiting for me. Wait, what's going on? Wait, what are you doing? Whooshing! And then you hear like the usher talk about it. But
Yep.
like I said, from the sound design to the scenic design, and they paid homage to other houses. Slaughter Cinema. A lot of the posters from Slaughter Cinema were pre-used in there, which was really cool.
Yep.
But and the smells, like you were saying, the smell of roses, the smell
I
of
love that
the
smell.
smell of gore, the smell of popcorn, but the smell of somebody's body being burned alive, like being fried with the electrocuted. But overall, I have to say this is my number one original house. Like, I love the icons, and for them to bring them back this year, this was like reliving the 2004 house, Horror Night Nightmares, but a much larger scale, including more people. But we're gonna pass this on now to Robbie.
And I have to say this is my number one house too, because I remember, as I said like earlier in the video, I remember hearing all these audios that Luke used to work, and I was like, so that's what they look like. So
Yeah.
that's so I actually get to see it was like a big thing for me. Even though I'd never been to Halloween Horror Nights in the past, I still felt like, wow, I remember hearing the audios on this. It was just so cool, and what I liked about it too was just so creative. It was just so like amazing. Like, they did a really good job, and it just was. My favorite room was going through the Palace Theater room, because
Yep.
it was just well done. I guess I would say my second favorite would be like the director. I love how the part he would go like, and cut.
Classic line.
I loved when he did that. Like he would pop out of nowhere and go and cut with his camera.
Yep.
And then my third favorite room would have to be, of course, Jack the Clown. I also love Jack the Clown. Like, I'm not a big fan of clowns, but if I had to pick one clown, it'd be Jack the Clown.
He is a clown sometimes.
He's more of a clown. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But your number one?
Yeah, I would say Icons was my number one.
Also, before we jump in, another fun fact I just remembered, when he mentioned the theater, I found out from someone who did a tour that the theater room is actually designed from the American Werewolf in London Porn Theater in that
Oh.
house. It's the same exact set. Even when you walk out and go left in the American Werewolf house, you walked out and went right. So it's the same exact, they took designs from other houses and they're like, okay, let's fit this in. So that was a fun
Interesting.
little fun fact that I learned.
All right, my thoughts on icons, guys. this was definitely on my top as well. The icons do mean a lot, and for me going since 2006 and seeing how the icons have basically evolved and have like basically just taken over basically the event. And anytime anybody hears one of the icons coming back, it's just like,
It's like, yes.
yes, we are there. But the house was absolutely amazing. Going through the lantern was a 1 in a million experience that I will not take for granted. That was just amazing to see. It was such a beautiful house, and be able to relive all of the icons all at one time. It's just the creme de la creme. We also took, as he was saying, at the end of the house, every icon would change. When we went, we would always guess who would be on the throne.
We would take a guess, even though I had the set list of who was who, and,
Sure.
and he'd be like, "Oh, it's gonna be
cheated.
Jack," and I'm looking, going.
Me and Justin were
So-
looking at him like, you cheater.
But then again, sometimes I was wrong because they changed up the list sometimes.
If
You still
I
cheated.
didn't like to go by the list because I always wanted to be surprised and see if I was right.
I did this.
We all did. My fiance, Robbie, Luke, we all tried to guess and see who would be on the throne. And sometimes I would win, sometimes one of them would be right. Sometimes we would take like 2 guesses.
Well, we'd all be completely wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just a fun game we like to play.
Yeah, that
like,
was fun.
Before
No, that was
going
fun.
in the house or whatever, and that was also pretty cool too.
It's an amazing house, though.
Yep. It will be definitely one that will be remembered in the history books.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
All right. So
I joked around. I called this house Horror Night Nightmares 2. It's pretty much. It's like I said before. It's like because I went through the original one, which it was director, caretaker, Jack, and Eddie. But this one took pretty much everybody that we knew and expanded it. The only ones that were not in this house, and you'll see why later on, are Eddie and Cindy. Because Eddie has his own zone and Cindy was in another maze, which we'll mention later on. So that's why they didn't put them in the house. Because all the other icons were not in the scare zones around the park or any other houses. It was just the way they set it up. They wanted it based on the big icons. And to add Bloody Mary, that was a shock to all of us because I was like, wait, like when I walked through, I was like, wait, what? Like,
she's my favorite though. She was my favorite female icon.
but then again, it's the rights because
Yeah.
I mean, well now she's an open source, so anybody can use her. But
yeah, it was very good house.
but the next house we have a pretty good story for this one.
So the next one is an original maze. This is the Revenge of the Tooth Fairy.
This one also came back in 2020.
Yep.
Or excuse me, it started in 2020.
Started in 2020. It made its return from 2020. The house location was Soundstage 24, and the description reads of the house: "You are about to discover the sinister reality behind the seemingly innocent childhood tradition. All children must give up their baby teeth to globonites." Was that say globonites?
Goblin-esque.
Sorry, it's a long word. Tooth fairies or pay a gruesome price. It's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Step into a old manor house that has been swarmed by yellow-clawed fiends, dripping with blood, teeth, and gore. Grit your teeth as you see the evil fairies extract their tooth bounty by force, while the victims struggle in vain. Hold in your screams or risk exposing your teeth to the monstrous grasping claws. And we do only have a...
We only have a wallpaper for this
Yeah.
one. So
But we'll be back. We'll let you see that real quick. And, watch your teeth.
he recently lost his first tooth.
Little James Young Westthorn.
This was a good house.
Anyways, Revenge of the Tooth Fairy making another appearance again. They're coming back from 2020, known as 29.5. So now you guys know that Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, The Bride of Frankenstein, and Beetlejuice were all the only 3 houses that we got for 29.5. What known in 2020. They were kind of testing it out and everything. So
Yeah.
but Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, guys, it was okay. It wasn't everybody's like, oh my god, but it was
a unique story.
It was a unique
kinda
story, and that's what everybody liked about it. There was many different scenes in there that I really liked, like the steam running out of the sink when you went halfway. That was really creepy.
Yeah.
The fog or whatever, because we didn't really get too much fog in 2020. So every time I would go over to that scene, I would just literally inhale all the fog that I could to try to get something out of it, because we were all desperate for that in 2020.
Yeah. Damn
So yeah, that was my spot basically for getting my fog for that year. But the different scenes that they saw or whatever, where you were in the bedroom one minute and then you were out kind of outside a little bit in the end or whatever, like the lightning and all that.
Yeah.
Like it really went like everywhere, and it told a story, which was really cool. And
Yeah, the unique storyline.
I thought it was really. You got to see some really interesting scenes with as far as teeth goes that would make you like cringe, like ugh.
It's kind of
like it makes me never want to go back to the dentist.
And funny enough, on Wednesday I actually did go to the dentist.
Yes, and don't be late for your tooth appointment at 2:30.
Oh jeez.
So, but
Well,
yeah, I thought it was okay.
Mine was 1:30. It was close to 2:30.
2:30.
2:30.
2:30.
2:30.
That is your appointment.
You know, that makes me cringe because I just finished the dentist on Wednesday.
But yeah, it was an okay house, and I'm glad that we got to actually see it twice, so that was really
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, Robbie, what'd you think?
I might get hate for this, but this is my least favorite house. It didn't really scare. I was hoping to be a little bit more scared. There were a few scary scenes, but like it wasn't like up in your face or anything. It just, I was like, I'm a scaredy cat for a lot of the time because Haunting of Hill House scared the crap out of me.
Oh,
And here it was like, what is this? That's just my opinion. I mean, the creativity of the house and stuff was pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. It was like I was hoping for more.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it didn't deliver very well. The story was interesting, but it just didn't deliver.
The scare aspect.
The scare aspect didn't really deliver. I wanted to be scared. I mean, I'm going to Howling Horror Nights. I want to be scared a little bit. Come on.
I think also too is we have our really scary houses too for the event. You have the storyline type houses, and then you also have the comedy houses.
Yeah, so it's a mixture
So
of pretty
I
much
think
everything.
this one was our storytelling house.
Yeah.
Okay.
For 30. So.
But I'm just saying, like, like the story was great, but I just thought you could just do a little of the scaring a little bit. I'm not saying by much, but a little more.
And Luke?
This house was very interesting because, I mean, from what I found out, this was actually supposed to be a new take on a new style story where back then we had the Scary Tales houses based on the fairy tales and what would happen if it wasn't. It's not a happily ever after. It's happily never after where, like, okay, Wizard of Oz. Okay, what if Dorothy was killed by the Wicked Witch and the Wicked Witch took over Oz? It would be the worst nightmare ever. Well, this type of story, from what I found out, was supposed to be a new tradition called bedtime stories, where this house was not just Tooth Fairy. It was supposed to be like El Cucuy, which was the boogeyman, and something like that. But I guess those stories didn't have enough, and they just kind of went, okay, Tooth Fairy has enough that we can do. See, when I first heard Tooth Fairy, I thought, okay, kid gets dragged under the bed into a nightmare realm, gets tied to a chair, and gets his teeth yanked out one by one.
Yeah.
One of the creators laughed. He goes, that was actually the story the storyline that we were gonna go for, but it completely made a left turn, and they thought, okay, old Victorian, which was a cool idea, and the storyline of, and as you're walking through, it's like you're hearing the narrator narrating the story.
Yep.
I mean, the house was cool, like how you started out as like an old black and white pop-up book.
Yep.
And then each room was labeled that way, and as you get further into the house, it's like a mix of the two. Like you're in the pages of the book, but you're also living it.
Yep.
This house, for the 2020 sequence, it wasn't as gory as it was supposed to be. Not a lot of scarecrows, again, COVID. But in 2021, they brought it back. There's a room in the house, which is a laundry room. It's supposed to be bloody sheets. In 2020, they weren't bloody. They were just pure white sheets covered with vinyls. Where in 2021, they completely sprayed the blood down, and now it was soaking wet in that room. You felt drips of blood, everywhere around you, and it kind of made that room a lot more scary. But I mean, I liked the idea they were going with, because I liked the whole story aspect. I thought, okay, this is a very interesting take. Sorry, I got it. Even walking in, like you see the storybooks, like, oh, what happens if you fail to give up your tooth, yada yada. The whole opening of little James saying, no, this is my tooth, you can't have it. You know, like just the sassy, like,
My tooth, you can't have it.
that, and then the narrator explaining, okay, here's what happens if you don't give up your teeth. You know, they pull your teeth out. So I don't know. I mean, this house was up there as far as narrating and stuff like that. I mean, the music was kind of creepy.
Yep.
Funny as it sounds, the opening music track is actually from Doctor Who. It's called The Vampires of Venice.
Yeah.
Little fun fact there. And then throughout the house they used a soundtrack called The Mirrors, which made it really like kind of that more darker. And fun fact, in this house, the stained glass window of the master of the house is actually one of the, I won't say his name, he's one of the Horror Night designers. He was the one that was in charge of designing this house. So
Yeah.
they made him the master of the house.
Yep. Yeah, he was in that picture, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to, the stained glass. But overall, it was a very interesting house. It smelled funny. Between
yeah.
the decaying teeth and then walking through the kitchen, and you smell like berries with blood, and it's like, okay, you're mixing the two here. But it was a really good house. But then again, the next house is even more unique. Next one's called Puppet Theater Captive Audience. It was located in Sprung Tent 1, and the description reads, a creepy, abandoned old theater from the early 1900s San Francisco. A puppeteer and a ballet troupe have been trapped there ever since, and they kill for an audience, whether you're a puppet or a patron. That's your cue to scream. All the blood will drain from your face as you see the green room run red with blood. Your horror grows as you come upon a grotesque living marionette made from severed limbs and human bodies. If you manage to escape their gory puppetry, then you'll become part of the skeletal audience rotting in place. Now, we do have just a artwork for this one, so we will get to that, and then when we come back, we'll talk about the house.
Yeah.
So, just remember one thing.
What?
I'm still rehearsing!
We'll be back. Okay.
Yes, I know, but the show must go on. And with that being said, Puppet Theater was amazing. Like, that was pretty creepy, seeing the front of the San Francisco theater, and I like how they paid homage to Earthquake, because it took place in the middle of an earthquake as you're walking through the buildings, like, collapsing. The scares in here were very well done, like Robbie and I mentioned earlier about our scares, so... yeah, Robbie made a guy great character in this one in a mirror room where it looks like you're looking into a mirror, but really it's not even a mirror. They made the desk look like everything was in the same spot when in reverse.
Yep.
And the character would jump through the mirror with the sound of a shatter.
Yep.
And Robbie jumped so bad to the point where the guy literally, when I walked by, I looked over and he was standing in the corner and he took up his mask and he was just laughing. And I'm just like, damn, dude, you made him break.
And I'm like, really? He's like, oh, yeah,
I mean,
you're laughing hysterical.
The music in here was quite interesting. It was an interesting take on different music, like funny piano music, opera-style music, on old 1930s, 1920s record player music.
Yep.
So, but the scares in here were very good. The closet scare got me a few times.
Yep.
Where the person jumped out of the clothes.
Yep.
And then, like just the set dressing, like walking into the theater where it looks like it's coming down on top of you. The orchestra room where all the instruments are with the guy that jumped out and hit the gong. That scared us a few times. There was also homage to Dollhouse of the Damned in there with the little baby, the one that, you know, like that really creepy.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the house, as you exit, the building collapses. So pretty much you got out. You escaped for now. But overall, this house was really good. Robbie, what did you think of this one?
I thought it was pretty well done. Like, I just like how it paid tribute, as Luke said before, to the old ride of Earthquake in San Francisco. Like, it just paid. I like how it paid tribute to that. I also like the detail and stuff. You're like inside an old like opera house.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like an opera house.
Yeah.
Unless that's really what they were going for, but that's what
Early
like the 1900s.
Early 1900s. Like
Yeah. Overall, the scares were pretty good, and I remember the one where I said, "Luke, there's something there. Just walk by." It was by the entrance.
Yeah.
And then the thing comes down. It looks like
Bastard.
and I'm walking away like just laughing hysterical.
And then Robbie got it back that same night. 'Cause remember?
Oh yeah.
The mirror guy got you again, and then the clown behind the mirror got you.
Yeah.
So he got it double back. So.
But it was overall. I thought that was really
The smell of baby powder.
I didn't like that. I was like, come on, really? But overall,
it was
I thought
a little overpowering.
Overall, I thought it was a really good house. They really did very well on that one.
I enjoyed it.
All right, so yeah, I thought it was good too. And back to the baby powder thing, it kind of reminded me when you went through that American Horror House that we had.
American Horror. Oh, horror.
American Horror House.
Like Horror House. What are you talking
American
about?
Horror Story. I'm sorry. Not Horror House. American Horror Story. We had it for a few years, but one of the years it smelled like baby powder.
It was also in Dollhouse of the Damned in 2014. It
So
smelled
they
like
use that
shit and baby powder.
They use that baby powder type thing or whatever every now and then. So, but I thought it was good. Puppets do make me cringe a little bit, so I was a little on a little edge there. My fiance also does not like puppets, yeah, the dressing room scene or whatever, that was a little surprise because they were freaking hiding in there.
They're dressed as clothes, and you didn't know what it was.
You didn't know, you didn't know when they were gonna pop out and stuff when you walked by,
and they use puppets to jump out and scare you.
Yeah, but I kind of like that old theater, anything to do with a theater or something like that. I like that.
It had a little bit of a Dead Silence feel too.
Yeah.
And it, like the old style, like you were saying, the old opera house. Because I mean, the early 1900s. I mean, back then they were old opera houses, and they turned them into theaters.
It kind of hit home with me too, because I used to work in a theater in high school.
And that's actually the backstory for Usher. The Palace Theater was an old opera house back in the heyday, and then they turned it into a theater, a movie house.
But as far as this house goes, I wouldn't mind seeing I like a continuation.
I'd like to see a sequel to this.
I would too,
in the
actually.
future. Yeah, I think this one would do very well.
That would be cool. So we'll see. Let's jump into our next house.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this one,
my third favorite original.
This one is my favorite house.
Excuse me. Second.
It's second.
It'd be the
Second
third
for
for
me.
me.
Okay. But this is my favorite house that they did for this year, and it's the Wicked Growth, Realm of the Pumpkin. The house location was Front Tent number 2. And the house description is: an evil rot has taken root in the land. It's time once again for the rise of the Pumpkin Lord.
I knew you were gonna do it.
Who grows Halloween like a malignant vine. His minions are scouring the countryside, collecting unwilling sacrifices in order to summon the Pumpkin Lord.
Oh, God.
The closer to Halloween, the more people practice the traditions, the greater powers of the Pumpkin Lord grow. As the pumpkins grow ever bigger, your fears grows even greater, and your odds of escape grow smaller. From the cemetery to the forest, there's no breaking free from the tenacious vines of the merciless Pumpkin Lord.
And we have a poster, a artwork for this one.
Yep.
We don't have a trailer.
No trailer for this one, but enjoy. And
I'm the pretty one!
and I'm the Pumpkin Lord.
And I'm just me.
So, we hope you enjoyed that from the Pumpkin Lord. Obviously my thoughts on this house is going to be the best ever because this was my number 1. Literally, as soon as you go through the house, there's just bunch of nasty pumpkin guts everywhere and a bunch of stuff hanging everywhere. But even before you go in the house, you have Mr. Baby, was it a Baby Boo?
Little Boo.
Little Boo.
Little Boo.
And he was very popular as soon as you
They
first
want
go
him to
through
be a
this house.
mascot.
Yeah, Little Baby Boo. So, and my fiance loved Little Baby Boo. She would always point him out every time.
They
we
actually
go
had to
in.
move him because people were trying to steal him, so they
Yeah.
moved him from the left side to the top right as soon as you come in.
But this house was absolutely amazing. I love seeing all the different characters within the actual like pumpkin itself as you were walking through. And the cake on the icing was actually seeing the Pumpkin Lord. He is
It's a
like,
giant pumpkin with roots.
and
it's
it's
like,
just,
okay.
and then he comes out or whatever and just starts growling and stuff or whatever.
Burps at you.
And
All
the
you hear is,
scares on
"Bleh."
this, the people who did the house itself, the scares were on point.
Yeah,
Everybody who came to the event had to go through this house because it was so good.
It's traditional Halloween. We don't
And-
have a lot of those houses.
And
I mean,
this is where the pumpkins were for this year too, because
up front.
we'll talk about it later on during in the scare zones, but we did not have pumpkins hanging up in any
Nope.
of the scare zones. So this is where you would get your pumpkin, like everything,
fix.
your pumpkin fix, and that's where. Because my fiance always loved seeing that too in that scare zone, all the pumpkins hanging up. But this is where you had to go this year for that. But my favorite house, number one, hands down, is this house. So, Robbie.
I would say this is my third favorite house. Beetlejuice being second, and Icons being number one. But I would say this is on number three. They did a very good job. It just traditional. I've always, even as a kid, I loved Halloween. Just hit home for me with traditional Halloween.
Yeah.
Traditional scares and stuff. It was that the scare actors they got into character every time I went through the house. Like they were on par with everything. They never missed the beats, and it just made out.
Sorry.
They
I
just
tried to reverse it. I
yeah.
feel like I'm in the corner.
It just amazed me, like how everyone just like worked together and they just got it every time, and it just, I mean, it was cool because it felt like you're like in a traditional countryside of those traditional Halloweens you would get like in the middle of nowhere.
Kind of like a Hocus Pocus feel, really, with the cottage.
Yeah, well, kind of like a little bit, like just full on traditional.
Old farmhouse style too.
Exactly. But I mean, that's all I gotta say about the house. They did a pretty good job with it.
And this one also just to point that out before you take over, it had that scarecrow feel to it a little bit.
Yeah,
I was
did.
going to mention that because there's a lot of things.
And me calling that house, by the way, before you would even announce, thank you, one house a year. I love that it had some of the aspect of Scarecrow because in that event, Scarecrow was one of my favorite originals
2017.
in 2017. So,
It's a good one.
well, Luke, your
And
thoughts
like,
on
like Justin said, I mean, the house paid homage to not just Scarecrow, but from walking into the pumpkin patch, which was based around Slaughter Cinema, Carver's Pumpkin Patch, to entering the farmhouse, aka Scarecrow, to going across into the barn, again, Scarecrow, and you met a character who Fire Nights designed, but he never saw the light of day, was Nathaniel Crow, who was eaten alive by crows and himself turned into a crow. You walked across the rickety old bridge, that's Fractured Tales from 2008. The cemetery, which was actually the Kane family cemetery from Scream House, the original, to going under the ground, to going into the witch's cottage, which I think was a resemblance to Scary Tales in one of the years. And then the rest of the house being original to itself, but the scares in here were top notch. I mean, from
Every
the scarecrows jumping out at you with these giant pumpkin heads on, to the wraiths and the banshees and the Grim Reaper, and everybody having their own part to help the Pumpkin Lord. The old witch summoning the Pumpkin Lord to the Grim Reaper, collecting the pumpkins to get, or the souls to deliver into the pumpkins, to the Pumpkin Lord sucking the souls out of the pumpkins. And when that jack-o'-lantern's light goes out, that person's soul is dead. They're gone. And what was really neat was, I mean, I like the sound design in this house. It was very well done. Just walking through the cornfield, going in and out and around. But even the end of the house, which we had a friend who worked in that house, again, we won't mention names, who did an amazing job scaring the hell out of us every night. And him winning Character of the Year. So congrats to you. I mean, he made all of us jump. Even when I went through with Jessica, like she's hard to scare. She was in the military, so for her to jump out and get scared by our friend, it was like, okay, now we're getting serious. But congrats to everybody in that house for winning House of the Year. Ops, everybody, you guys deserve it. That was definitely a #1 house.
Yes.
But even walking up to the house, like hearing the witch's echo of her incantation, like that was really a cool setup. But overall, I like that house.
We will forever remember the Pumpkin Lord.
But the last and final house is actually one of my. No, sorry, we're not on the final.
Not
house
the final house.
Second to last house.
We're almost there.
Is actually one of my favorites. It's another tribute to the past, and it's called Welcome to Scary, Horror in the Heartland. It was located in Men in Black 3. Sad to say, this location will not be used for Horror Nights 2022 as they are doing work to the Fear Factor stage, and they did not put the permit in for this house. So, the house description reads, the town placed the sign at the entrance to Cary, Ohio, saying it's a nice place to live. Unfortunately, nobody lives here very long. No one escapes from Cary, where bad things just happen, and new terrors rain down year after year. If it claws, bites, feasts on blood, or just likes to rip people to shreds, it somehow finds its way to Cary. Experience an endless parade of unimaginable terrors, from the horrifying creatures to bloodthirsty maniacs. You can scream all you want in Cary, but everybody's too busy doing their own screaming to pay much notice. And we do have a wallpaper art for this one. So... Alright, well, while you guys are talking about this, I'm gonna grab some water. So...
Yeah.
Alright, fine. So, for this house, this one is my second favorite original because, again, another tribute. Cary, Ohio has been in Halloween Horror Nights past for years. And it all started because one of the creative designers is from Cary, Ohio. And that's how, and she always said to all of us that the town, for some reason, has a bunch of crazies and weird happenings that actually happen in this town, and they decided, hey, let's bring it to Horror Nights. It's a great backstory. This house, like I said, mind-blowing. Each room, as soon as you walk up, the billboard, it's playing like, oh, it's a happy town. You hear happy music playing. It's kind of like Pleasantville.
Yeah.
It's like something like you think, oh, it's beautiful, and then it's like, wait, what? The first room, you enter the sewers, which was from The Spawning from 2009's
But
Halloween Horror
even
Nights.
before that, you had me scared by the Meats guy.
That was actually home of the best scare that night.
Yeah, that was great. And we were, and it was still, and that was during Stay and Scream too. The park wasn't open yet.
Yeah.
It was during
But-
Stay and Scream.
Like I said, from entering the house, from hearing the old radio advertisements to Meats, serving you for 25 years, and then jumping into like old classic music like Earth Angel, Will You Be Mine? So it kind of gives that like, oh, it's such a nice town, like yada yada, like laid back. Then you enter the first room. You have The Spawning, based on 2009's Halloween Horror Nights, ripped from the Silver Screen house. Great. It was a great room. You're in the sewers and the weird creatures.
Yep.
Come out and jump out at you. The next scene was from HHN 17 or 27, which was The Hive, the home of the vampires. This one you felt like you were underground with coffins and the vampires were jumping out, kind of like Nosferatu from hell, pretty much.
Yep.
After that, you entered the old dilapidated haunted mansion of Dead End and Legendary Truth, which is from 2010 and 2012. So the ghost hunters are back again. you go in, you see like the ghost hunting equipment, and the spirits are jumping out. The fire's turning blue. You go up into the attic. It's dead end, and you hear creepy doll-style music walking through, and all of a sudden there's a scare where it looks like there's a wall right there, but really there's someone behind it, and then there's a ghost floating in the window. Make a left. Go in the Halloween Horror Nights 2010, the orphanage, or excuse me, the schoolhouse mixed with the orphanage, because this is, and you guys will remember why I said Cindy Kane was not a part of the Icons, because she was in this room, because this is her backstory. Ever since the funeral home burned down, and she thought her father was dead, and her mother died, she was put into an orphanage. Well, she didn't take very well because people made fun of her because her face was burned as a child and she wore a porcelain doll mask. And when people made fun of her, she killed them by throwing them into the boilers at school, into the furnaces, and burning them alive and burning the school to the ground. So that's where Cindy jumps out.
Yep.
After that, you go into the TV station, home of HR Blood and Guts presents Holidays of Horror. The holidays are playing on the TV.
Wow.
He jumps out. You see some of the costumes worn. Little fun fact: Jack the Clown's original polka dot wardrobe was hanging up there,
Yep.
as well as a few other icon ones. Next room, a little bit of Slaughter Cinema. You see some of the wallpaper, and it also sets up the backstory for David the Cleaver, because Mormon Meats, who runs the barber shop, he kills the victims and sends them to his brother, who is Samuel Meats, who cooks them and chops them up and uses them for fresh meat in this meat factory. So the family business still ran, where he would jump out and like attack people. It'd be a funny looking commercial, like you have the giant meats guy. Howdy, friends. Then you enter the freezer, where the victims who don't stay in Carrie for long are captured and sliced up and used for meat, which is also the dead bodies that Mormon Meats collects in his barber shop, and then sends them over to be sliced and diced into processed meat. And then, of course, the final room is a mix of 3 different houses. It was Havoc, Dogs of War, with the person with the chainsaw. It was also Havoc, Dogs of War with the concrete barricades, and a little bit of Psycho-Scaredy, where the guy was chopped up with his body this way across the glass.
Yep.
And you would hear the theme from A Summer Place. But the final scare, being chased out of the house with someone with a chainsaw, and being chased into the house with a chainsaw, kind of gets you like, okay, let's start our journey here, go. But all the music, iconic, like from the past mazes and stuff like that, or from the past, like, oh, Legendary Truth. Okay, it was from the movie The Wicker Man, like it was in 2010, so that was cool. I like this house because I like the anniversary, and I recognize every single room back to back to back to back. And we had a friend who did makeup in this house, who, by the way, Bud, if you're watching this, good job on the makeup for that house. Amazing job. And he also helped me out with figuring out the music in the queue, because he would stand outside and be like, oh, I tagged this, I tagged this, I tagged this, and I'd start putting the track listing together.
Yep.
And then the inside I worked on. But overall, this house is the reason why it's my number 2, because, I mean, I liked being able to step back into those old scenes and be like, oh, I remember this, oh, I remember that house, that was good. But, Robbie, what did you think?
What do I think of the house?
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Oh, okay.
Didn't I just say my part?
No,
Oh.
No, I started it.
you haven't talked yet. Tell us what you think about this house.
Well, overall they did pretty good. I mean, it was hard to follow some of the stories of it, because the only thing I remembered was the meats because from Luke's audios and stuff.
Meats, serving you for 25 years. Unauthorized personnel will be killed.
And then killed again.
And killed again. There you go.
On your top though, or your bottom?
I would say this would be my number 4. Like this would be number 4, because it was I mean it was Yeah, I can't even talk.
I'm the same way today. I can't talk. It's like a drunk feeling.
No, it just it was pretty cool, like how they put a bunch of stuff together. Like as Luke said, like he's glad I did Halloween Horror Nights 30 because it gave me a taste of the
That
past.
was another introduction house to him.
So
to
I
introduce
feel
him to
I feel
Carrie.
like I'm pretty caught up to to this year now.
Yeah.
But I don't got much to say though. It was a pretty good house, and the actors and the makeup was very well done, and everyone was on spot on again with the scares and stuff. But that one scare though with you,
I got
know.
that one on audio.
It was not. It was iconic, which I will now talk
Iconic.
about that. Yeah. All right. So my thought on scary. It was scary.
Well, to the
It's-
point.
it's
Okay.
the name.
All right.
So yeah, that legendary scare that I ended up seeing for myself. Everybody loves seeing that. Yeah, I mean, we literally were just going through the house, and I didn't expect it. And he's sitting there, literally on my right hand side, pops up, and I was like, "What the?"
Yeah, it was funny. I have it on audio.
It
It's
scared the
great.
bejeebas out of me, dude. It was
We
one
were
of my
all
best scares.
laughing.
and it's
Right.
even funnier. It was still daylight outside too.
Yeah,
It
it
was-
was.
Which made it
it
even
was-
better.
It was one of my best scares for that year.
I think it's
hands
because also
down.
the fog was like it just rained that night, and the fog was staying in
Yeah.
that area, so
But
you couldn't
I didn't
see
expect
until
it.
you came around that corner.
But again, like Luke said, I also love seeing stuff from the past, so I can actually relive those moments because they
Yep.
mean a lot when you keep going to the event every year, and you're like, oh, I remember this, I remember that. But that meets guy, let me tell you what, that meets guy. he knew how to come out of different places and just get me.
and
so.
one of them knew us
But yep.
because he took the blade and slashed it at me.
And
Like, oh,
it was also on my top because it also was an anniversary house, so it was cool. And
It
I
was a
liked
lot
it a
of
lot.
fun.
I liked it a lot. It was definitely on my top as well. So, but yeah, let's move on to
our final house.
final house of Halloween Horror Nights 30, which is
This was actually a late arrival house. This one was not supposed to be what it is.
yeah.
Because we had some other houses lined up, which we won't discuss, but they landed on this one, and this one was pretty good.
Yep. So this last house is Case Files Unearthed, Legendary Truth. The house location was in the Shrek Theater.
Rest in
two- no,
peace.
number
Rest in
two
goodbye,
piece.
Shrek.
We will not have this house location for this year.
Or probably not for a while.
Or probably not for a while.
Or not at all. Might be gone.
And also, rest in peace, Shrek. You will be missed. The house description reads, follow the trail of a private eye as an investigation to the supernatural leads you into a dark world of ghouls and terrifying creatures. Yeah,
We have a wallpaper.
we do have a wallpaper. Okay. So, please
I need to get typing on my report.
enjoy. Okay. That was. What do you
I
think?
still can't get my report done.
Anyways, Case Files. This house, it was interesting. It's got that like old like. What do I want to describe it
LA,
as?
kind of like LA Noir playing, and like Robbie said, Dick Tracy.
It was interesting.
Give me Dick Tracy vibes.
But no, it was interesting. It was it's toward my top, like towards the middle of my list, basically. But it was good. I know a lot of people who absolutely loved this house, and it was their number one. But I thought that it was definitely creative or whatever. It was definitely. I felt like everything was like older, like type.
It was another one of the storyline houses that linked up
So-
with Tooth Fairy.
But,
like how we had the story.
Yeah, I
progression.
thought it was okay. Rob.
I thought it, like I just got a lot of Dick Tracy vibes from that house, and I also I would say this is on my number 5, like just because I couldn't, it was hard to follow the story a little bit, like I didn't fully know know what was going on half the time because it's from like Horror Nights past houses, right? Some of them.
It's
Yeah.
based off of the Legendary Truth thing that started in 2010.
Yeah. So it was kind of hard for me.
And
I mean, it was
kinda like no
creative.
investigation.
It was creative. Don't get me wrong. Like it was cool, but that's why it falls at number 5 because it was creative. But I had a hard time following it. But that's not Universal or Halloween Horror Nights' fault. That's just me. Like I just couldn't follow it. But they did a good job making it though.
See, for me, this house touches a little bit because I grew up with the Legendary Truth, and this pretty much followed the story of Boris Schuster, who was the original investigator, who found these totems. And when all the totems are brought together, an evil force is risen. And each totem represents a past, I forget what a legion. So like you have you have the Karazhan, who is mine, who is the hand, it was the walkers. You have the Morphins, who were mystical creatures. But this story follows, like, okay, Boris Schuster found these totems. And originally they were said, don't put them together. So he desperately tried everything he could to hide them in a storage unit separate from each other. And the story picks up where a person locates these books. And each book represents a totem. And it led him straight to the warehouse, and he found the totems and put them back together, in which Boris, of course, has been long gone, like back in the early years, and now that he put them together, the guy's fate is pretty much, he's dead. But what's cool is the story starts off in the modern day story where the guy is reading the books and like, oh, this totem is this. And then when you step in, you're back in the early noir style years, and it's Boris's side of the story where he starts looking each story you step into the book where like, okay, you go into the sewers, okay, which totem is here. But I thought it was interesting because when I heard Legendary Truth, I thought, okay, what if they do it based on past like investigations? But when I heard Case Files, I was like, this is a very interesting twist. And I thought, okay, which it surprisingly shocked me how really good, and them damn drop panels, I swear to God. They used a lot of those scares this year at the event, and like, whenever I started knowing where they were, like if it was on my right, I would walk by and be like, okay, ah, shit, go! So, there was one in there that was so loud, I think it was like, after going through his apartment, you come through that one area where you see the egg.
Yep.
Like that one, you felt the floor drop. Like you felt the floor. So like all you hear is, you're like, oh shit. Okay, all right, go. So the music was like jazzy style. So it's like I said, L.A. noir. So you think of like the old days of like Robbie said, Dick Tracy. I mean, because I grew up watching that movie and the old TV show. So it was kind of. Or the cartoon and whatnot, but
Didn't they have like on the walls too something every time you went through?
It was the book. It was the picture of the book that you were going into.
And it read on the walls like.
And it read on the walls, and also each room had one of the totems. And if you were a part of a specific legion, you would call it out. Like when we went through the police station, and I saw the severed hand, I was like, oh, that's mine. That's the Karazhans. That's the Walking Dead.
Yep.
That was my legion. Like, cause you play the Legendary Truth is basically a game. It's an investigation game where you figure out stories, solve puzzles, and solve cases. And this pretty much took everybody's level of Legendary Truth and just went like this and locked everything in.
Yep.
Some people didn't understand it. Other people who were fans of it, like we went through it. Some of our friends who were huge fans of Legendary Truth. Walked through, and each room they pointed out to us, oh, there's the Karazhan, oh, there's the Morphins, there's the traditionals. I'm like, okay, so each room is telling the story of a past totem. But we've come to the end of the mazes.
Those were all the houses for Halloween Horror Nights 30.
And now we move into the Scare Zone. And we are going to start up with the first one, which is 30 Years, 30 Fears. The location is the Plaza of the Stars, aka Production Central. The most infamous characters from the past Halloween Horror Nights Scare Zones will reunite to take over the Avenue of the Stars in 30 Years, 30 Fears. Guests will enter a gory reunion where the past has come back to haunt them with creatures of blood and bone, beastly monstrosities, and chainsaw-wielding fiends lurking around every corner. And we do have an artwork for this one,
Yep.
so
Enjoy.
don't let this one fear you.
Alright.
Alright, and that was 30 Years, 30 Fears, the wallpaper. This scare zone was kind of like the welcome to Halloween Horror Nights 30. This is pretty much where, like, if you were to start the park in the right way, you would cut through this zone first.
Yep.
Past characters from the streets, past characters from the houses. All in all, but you didn't see any of the icons, but you did hear their voices using past audio tracks playing above you.
Yep.
The flames, the lights,
Candles.
the blaring, the candles, the blaring music of death metal playing in this zone.
Yeah.
It was like the greatest party ever. And I really enjoyed this zone. Small, but it was a great welcome area. Like the dancers dancing and stuff like that, and then characters walking around and the voices of the icons. It was really cool. Rob, what'd you think of this one?
I thought it was pretty cool. It was a little short though, and it was cool, but it was hard to walk through there sometimes. There's so many people like coming
Yeah.
in, coming out, because it's like mostly near the entrance of the park.
Yep.
So it was so hard to enjoy that one because you have so many people like stopping, trying to take pictures, and also like getting in your way. So
Like the photo op zone. pretty much.
I felt like that zone was like it's cool, but I just felt like rushed through it. I couldn't really enjoy it that much.
Gotcha. I liked it too. It was pretty cool, and like you said, it's that introduction basically to the event. It's a good way to start off the event.
Mhm.
I do love the candles that they used or whatever in
That was
the
a reference to Festival of the Deadliest
Yes,
2017.
I was just gonna
It was the
say that.
website. Yeah.
It had a little bit of Festival of the Deadliest in there, and Bones was also in this zone.
Yep.
So if you ever went to 2017's event, you would know that was our icon that year.
And we met someone new. His
Yes.
female companion,
Yep.
Blood.
Yes.
He
So
was made of vein, like
and
human veins.
I absolutely love Bones. He's it's like one of my favorite icons.
Bone Daddy.
Boom, daddy. But yeah, I love the candle aspect in that because I loved 2017. It was a really great year.
Yeah, it
so-
was. That was. We had a good.
Um,
we had a good lineup that year.
So yeah, it was a good way to start off the event. Let's go into now scare zone number 2 here, and that is lights, camera, action, which is Eddie's Revenge. The Scarecrow location was Hollywood, and the description reads: Eddie Schmidt, the Jack the Clown's diabolical brothers, returning to Halloween Horror Nights to film a gory Hollywood sequel in lights, camera, action. Eddie's Revenge. Exempt this time, the monsters are real. Vampires, evil clowns, creatures from the watery depths, and the other horrific beings from the event's past will roar on the scene where guests will make their short and painful cameo. And we do have a wallpaper.
And then we will be back with this one.
And lights, camera.
Hey, you do that again, you'll be chicken wings in the morning.
Ah, Eddie.
Yep. I see you.
As you know, this scare zone is mainly based off of Eddie and which is Jack's brother,
It's another anniversary style zone. This one based on
Yeah.
characters from the past.
and that's is why he also said you don't see Eddie in the Icon House or whatever because this is where he is.
He was filming his movie.
So you saw Cindy in Scary, and you saw Eddie here in this scare zone. I would like to eventually in the future though see Eddie in another house.
I want Eddie to be the icon.
So
I would
yeah.
love to see him finally get his reign of terror.
But thoughts on this scare zone? This was actually, I think, my favorite scare zone.
And it won. I almost said House of the Year. Scare Zone of the Year.
Scare zone of the year. I don't know what this guy's on.
I don't know.
Anyways, yeah,
I'm high off of water.
This is my favorite scare zone. I loved how it also had different things also from the past that we got to see.
Dead
The
Man's
ice
War.
cream, guy
Van 55.
was in here from Vamp
The
55.
the Mariner from Dead Man's War.
Yep.
Everybody.
So
Pigs from Saw.
And I loved also seeing him rev that chainsaw and being up there on stage. It was just,
And he would have audio tracks too. Like,
Yeah.
I see you.
and it was just an awesome zone. So this was actually my favorite scare zone for the year. Robbie.
I would have to say this was one of my top favorite scare zones. It was just very well done. It was also cool to see Jack the Clown pop up there from time to time with his megaphone.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty funny.
That was really neat.
And
Like,
And Chance too.
Chance,
Yeah, like
yeah.
that was pretty cool. They make like a random appearance. Like they won't even tell you like they're coming out there. Then you just gotta get lucky if you see them. But it was just
throughout the night.
Yep, that was pretty cool, and I just think it was like oh wait, this is a cool theme because you're in Hollywood and it's like Hollywood movies and like Hollywood.
Pretty much Hollywood in hell.
Like pretty much it was like a Hollywood in hell
Yeah.
kind of like if Hollywood went if there was a Hollywood in hell, this would totally explain it. This would be it. So that's my thoughts on it.
I like this zone because again, it was an anniversary zone, so you saw past like houses and scare zones that we've done in the past. We also saw this also was a sequel to a scare zone that we had in 2009 of the same name, Lights, Cameras, Action. The only difference is, instead of them filming a movie about the Chainsaw Drill Team, this time it was about Eddie. And again, half-built sets with bodies being like, you got one body nailed to a wall with a nail gun. You got another guy with a screw in the side of his head with a drill.
Yep.
And then like just half-built sets all over the place, and Eddie being the reign of terror, like oh you go get that guy or I'll get this person. It's like he was pretty much directing. And then like the half-built sets of like Vamp 55 with the ice cream guy, the invasion with the alien, and one of my friends who was in that zone, I won't mention names, who was in Dead Man's Wharf out front of the cemetery, standing there with the gaffers, with the gaffing hook. He was a mariner. And like just the characters running around. What was also cool is they had the production company truck,
Yep.
which was designed, I think the initials on the truck were actually from the designers of the zone. And there was also the food truck from the old food truck show that we used to have at Universal, and it was also used in Bill and Ted last year, Bill and Ted.
Rest in peace.
Which was filled with body parts, kind of like Meats. So that was kind of a cool throw-in.
What was the clown one they did?
Treeks and Foons
That's
from
right.
2002. It was a scare zone.
That's an old one.
Yeah, one of them tried to hit me in the face with the lollipop.
Oh yeah.
But no, I thought the music was a little weird because they just used the regular Park Hollywood loop, but all screwed up and like slowed down, sped up, and like every so often you would hear Jack, "Hey Eddie, I see you." It's like you hear him, and like Robbie and them said, like, and like Justin said, the presence of Jack standing up there with his brother. I mean, I would like to see maybe another Horror Nights event with the trio. Jack, Eddie, Chance. The triple threat of Horror Nights. Or maybe have Eddie finally make his appearance and be an icon of the event. Like this is the most that we've seen Eddie all like in a while, because he was supposed to have the event in 01, but due to 9/11, they had to tone it down, and Jack came back. In 2006, we saw Eddie again in Run, Hostile Territory, but only in one room.
I remember that.
And we also saw Eddie for a third time in, I want to say it was 20 Years of Fear, because he was walking around with a chainsaw, but certain nights he wasn't there. So it was kind of like an ominous, like, okay, where'd he go? He was here one night, now he's not here. And now this year, he took over. Like, Jack gave him his own scare zone and said, here, you want to do a movie? Go for it. And like, I like where Jack's always harassing him. Eddie, come on, cut it. It's a wrap. Let's go. Like, just him nagging at his brother, and his brother's just sitting there looking around going, like, I'm going to kill this guy. And of course, Eddie doing the, I see you, like, whenever he'd be on stage. It was cool. But
Now it's time to bow to the queen.
The next scare zone holds a real close to my heart. 2005 was the last year that Islands of Adventure saw the light of Halloween Horror Nights. With the scare zone Gorewood Forest. The location was Central Park. The location. The description reads, 16 years after the gory sacrifices of Terra Cruentes, the Heartless Terror Queen is back. Evil is in her nature. The Heartless Terror Queen is back, and her wicked plans to remake the world in her terrifying image will take root in Central Park, transforming into the grisly Gorewood Forest. Guests will find nowhere to hide from her menacing minions as they harvest fresh blood to feed her ever-growing power in the season of the Queen. And we do have an artwork for this one.
Yes.
So, bow down to the Queen and toss my salad.
Salad?
It's two salads. Two salads.
We get it.
Get it, Lou. Fine.
And that was Gorewood Forest. This one was probably my number 2 favorite scare zone because, again, this was my second year of Halloween Horror Nights and the last year that it was at IOA. This one was a mixed match of the Gorewood Forest location, which was in Islands in Jurassic Park. So it had the cemetery mines and everything like that, but the Queen was out there on her throne, and there's also a little backstory to this one because this story continues. After the Queen comes back again for a second time, she hears that Eelmouth has plans to overthrow her as the Queen and take over as ruler of Terra Cruentes, and she gets wind of this and kills him. That was him who was hung from his neck and dipped into the burning pit because of his treachery towards her. So he was gonna kill her. But this one, the knuckle grunts, the large characters walking around. The only thing that I was a little sad about is I didn't hear any of the original music. I was hoping that Midnight Syndicate would have used Dungeons and Dragons as the score. But then again, I forgot that the backstory says we're not 100% into Terra Cruentes. She brings Terra Cruentes to our world, which is why you saw victims dressed like normal humans being killed. And it's like, okay, I gotcha. I got it now. So that's why I was like, okay, that would make sense. But overall, this scare zone was amazingly beautiful. Like, I think Central Park has some of the most beautiful scare zones ever.
Yeah.
And that's also why we didn't do the pumpkins that Justin was talking about earlier. Rob, what'd you think?
I thought the zone was okay. It wasn't too scary. Like, I feel like it was like another zone where you just walking through it, and because it's
Like
through
an
Central.
atmosphere.
I didn't really care. No offense to anything, I didn't really care for much that one. That's just my opinion. It felt rushed because you're kind of like in the Central Park area. And that roadway over there, it's just like you just walk through it. The scares weren't that scary because you knew where the characters were. Like they're just hiding, but they didn't hide that very well. So it's like didn't really scare me that much.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, but to preach their own, I guess.
All right. I like this zone. This was also on my top because I have seen a lot of the past.
This was also Kira's favorite zone.
This was Kira's favorite zone. She loves the Queen, and I lost the video or the picture that I took of it, but the Queen actually did her thing, and what's the thing that she does?
She christens you, she makes you one of her minions. She
Yeah.
doesn't
So
sacrifice
she did the thing with her sword or whatever on both my.
pretty much put the spell on you that you are a minion of.
Yeah.
That you are her helper.
And
You are
I lost
her
that
side.
video, but she did do that for me when I actually bowed down to her. So that was a really cool thing to see or whatever.
The final night for me was very touching because I met up, or second to final night, we met up with some of our friends and we went over because the Queen was actually the original Queen from 2005. I won't say her name, but if you're watching this, you were amazing. we went over and did one final bow to the Queen, and she literally came off the stage and literally went like this, under our chins, and rose us up to our feet and gave us hugs. And she was like, "Thank you so much." She's like, "You are always going to be embedded into Gorewood, no matter what." And she did the same thing with the Blade. She's like, "You guys are all christened as my minions.
Yep.
Go forth and do me well."
Yes.
And that was an amazing thing. Like this is so cool. And I'm actually good friends with her, so I still see her once in a while. But
Yep. But we love you, Queen. On to the next scare zone, which is Seek and Destroy. This location of the scare zone was New York streets, and the scare zone reads: in Seek and Destroy, guests will find themselves in New York. A ruthless alien cyber regime led by the Controller has taken over, relentlessly scanning the streets of the humans and turning them into fuel. With the regime's loyal followers hiding in the darkness, endless hunting for new victims, guests must either join them or be destroyed.
we do have an artwork for this one.
We do have an artwork for this one, yeah, so
So
enjoy.
bow down to the Controller.
or
it's
get
right
hooked, or get hooked to the source.
Ah.
So, Seek and Destroy. How can we talk about Seek and Destroy? Well, they were seeking and destroying.
And there were people
That's it.
plugged,
That's a scare zone. We're gonna move on to the next one.
and people were plugged to the source.
It was a big zone. Obviously, this was in New York, so it took up a lot of the area.
Yep.
It was interesting. It reminded me a lot of, what did I say it reminded me of? The Star Wars Troopers,
Stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers or whatever.
Yeah.
It just had that, a little bit of that feel with it, and like, it was interesting. It wasn't my favorite zone at all, but it was part of the event. It made it as a whole. So, your
Yeah.
thoughts, Robbie?
I would say Seek and Destroy, the vibe I got from it, and it wasn't that scary either. Like it kind of lacked on that, but the what I got from it was if Doom met Star Wars, that like
Yeah.
the old Doom games and the old Star Wars movies, like the really old ones, like if you just put them together, this is what you got basically was Seek and Destroy. That was my thoughts on it.
It was a very interesting zone, because I mean everything in New York is either zombie related or apocalyptic or something chaos,
Yeah.
like Purge and everything. So this one was another one of those. It did take up a lot of room. I did like how the Controller was talking to guests, because they had like microphones and we can talk.
Yeah,
to
that was
him.
pretty cool.
He was choosing like, okay, so are you gonna bow down to me or am I gonna have to kill you? So the minions would like try to follow people and stuff like that. It was a really cool zone, but like you guys said, it's like Star Wars and Doom. It's like, okay, wait a minute, what are we doing here?
So you had some up on the ground, you had some on the towers or whatever the towers that they built.
Shooting spotlights at people.
And you
trying to
had
hunt
flags on the buildings of the actual
the Controller's logo.
Controller's logo, so it's like they took over and
But
this is now theirs.
the final scare zone that we're going to talk about is very interesting. This one is based off a TV show, which
Yep.
we watched. Well, not TV, it's basically Netflix only. It is called Crypt TV. It was in San Francisco, and it reads: Crypt TV guests will step into Crypt TV, a dark universe of monsters that reside in the same reality on their screens, in their pockets, and now in real life. In this nightmare world that's overtaken San Francisco, creatures of all shapes and sizes exist, including the Look-See, the Sunny Emily Cult, Heartclaw, and Miss Andy. Now, they've been brought to life in a world of fear that will engulf any guest who enters. And we actually have a artwork for this one.
Yes.
So,
This one was in San
welcome
Francisco.
to Crypt TV.
Welcome back to Crypt TV.
So, Crypt TV.
This was a very interesting zone. It was like a photo op zone, but it filled up a lot of the area of San
Yeah, it
Francisco.
did.
I mean, they had pretty much everyone. The Look-See, Miss Amity, Family Cult, Shelly, and everything like that. Like everybody. Krampus. Like it was cool, and as you walk through, they were playing like clips of whatever the episodes that they were showing.
Yeah.
And the music was all original from the show, which I still can't find. I wish they would release it. But what do you think?
Oh, I thought you were looking at Justin.
No.
I thought it was pretty good. After watching all from what was it? We were watching it on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're on YouTube. So yeah, I thought overall I thought they did a really good job with each series, whatever they do on YouTube, and it was really cool to see a lot of the characters come back to life. My favorite character of all, though, I have to say, is Shelly, and everyone knows
Yeah.
that.
Your wife.
No. But I would say Shelly was my favorite because she's just so evil. Like she just and portrayal too. Like you thought she was gonna make a friend, and then all of a sudden she betrays the person that she was the person that she was helping. Like she betrays her.
Well, because she knew that the person that was helping her was one of the ones that traded.
Well,
her
you don't know that in the
You don't know
beginning.
that,
It's just like, oh my god, this is brutal and savage. That's why I like Shelly so much. Is that's like she does not back
doesn't
down.
care.
She doesn't care. Like it just was great.
I liked it a lot. I thought we watched all the series when everybody came over for our party and everything. And, it was really cool. I think there was only one that we missed that we didn't get to see at the moment. Forgot which one that was.
It was the door or something, whatever it was. The door in the woods. The door in the woods.
Door in the Woods. Yeah, we missed that one.
I think
but,
we only watched part one,
Because it was so big.
It was
remember?
so long,
It was a big,
yeah.
it was like
So
an
long.
hour long.
But
Yeah.
eventually we'll get around and watch it. But everything else we saw and we knew and we were prepared for the scare zone, so it was really cool seeing, hey, you know where this is coming in. But yeah, I liked it a lot. It was cool. It would be nice to see that as a house.
Yeah, that would be cool.
If it did come back. So we'll see, maybe. But all in all, yeah, it was a pretty good zone. I liked it. Not bad. So now we move into the shows. That was all the scare zones for Halloween Horror Nights 30. And with our first show, it's gonna be the Marathon of Mayhem, Carnage Factory.
Marathon of Mayhem 2.
Yes.
This is our second year that we've done this.
In the Universal Studios Lagoon, so it's that one over in the water. And it reads, there's no manufacturing streams of terrifying show comes to life in Universal Studios Lagoon. It's a fear factory. Marathon of Mayhem, Carnage Factory, a brand new nighttime lagoon show that will transform the expansive Universal Studios Lagoon into re-owned visions of fright and highlighting some of the top names in horror and Halloween Horror Nights history that are featured in this year's event.
And we have a artwork.
Yep,
for this
artwork.
one.
So, enjoy. Alright, we hope you enjoyed that artwork for
Good
the
show.
show.
Great show.
And my thoughts on it, it kicked ass. It was the best show that we had that year, I feel,
Yeah, I
in my
agree.
mind, out of the two shows.
I definitely agree on that one.
It just was mayhem, literally over the lagoon, and it was just awesome. So, definitely my top favorite show. Your thoughts?
Wait.
You
You
didn't
didn't
do
see
it.
the show.
Oh no, I haven't seen Nightmare Fuel, but I did see this one.
Oh,
You did see this
okay.
one?
then-
I thought we were talking
alright,
about Nightmare Fuel.
No, we're
No.
talking
I
about,
got confused.
No,
Okay.
we're talking about Carnival.
My bad. No, this show, because this is this one Lagoon
Yeah.
with the water. Yeah, I thought they did pretty good. The music was kind of loud for my taking, but
Definitely death metal.
yeah, definitely you can totally tell it was death metal. But yeah, exactly. I just thought it was good. Like it just showed a lot of the classic movies and like icons of movies. Overall, I thought it was good. That's all I gotta say.
I like the concept. I mean, the 2019 show for me was a little bit better. Like, cause I mean, I like the 80s feel, but this one definitely death metal, hosted by Jack the Clown, of course, and then going into the IPs, which there was a segment in the show that was removed. It never saw the light. Was Beetlejuice. It said they filmed it, but they Warner said no.
Yep.
But overall, great show. I really enjoyed this one. This one was better than the other show that we had.
Yep.
Which I will talk about next.
Hang on. Actually, before you do that,
Wait, don't we have a surprise for them?
yes, I actually have the whole show for you guys. Please enjoy.
Oh, okay.
It's showtime.
That wasn't added.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's more Jackie.
As we extract the second twisted visions buried within your own nightmares.
Now I lay me down to sleep, where the nightmares are real. As the clock ticks, I wander off. The terror you will feel. As the clock begins to chime, all hope will disappear. For this is a dark and lonely place, built to extract your fears. what a monster of a prize! You may ask, where are we, Jack? What is this gruesome place? I see the terror in your eyes and the panic on your face. This factory is all fun and games to extract the fear within. And now that you're all good and scared, the real carnage will begin!
Thank you for joining us. Now, get out.
Alright, so that was the Marathon of Mayhem.
Another great job to the
Carnage.
person that I know who did the show.
Yes.
He also did it again. Great job again. Love the soundtrack.
I like the first Marathon of Mayhem a little bit better than this one, but this one was so good.
I like the soundtrack to this one. It's like a death metal.
But yeah, on to the
The
second.
next show is literally on fire. It's called Halloween Nightmare Fuel. It was located in the Fear Factor stage. Fear Factor. I don't know why I said that way. Sadly, this area will not be used again, supposedly. And the show reads, a new show is igniting at Halloween Horror Nights featuring fire, pyro, and aerial performers. Halloween Nightmare Fuel, a fiery new show featuring nocturnal creatures, aerialists of the night, and frightful fire performers, all set to pulse-pounding rock, metal, and electronica music. And the only thing that we have for this one is we just have a wallpaper.
Yep.
We do not have a full show, sadly. So, good luck.
Alright. That was the wallpaper for Nightmare Fuel. Your thoughts? You lead it off.
I thought it was okay. I mean, I liked the theme, I liked the show itself, but it just wasn't up to my, like, I thought Marathon for me was better. I don't know why, the show was good. It was very loud though because of the explosion sounds. I mean, I'm not big with explosions. I'm always the one that sits there like this. So, that one, but the show itself was actually really, really good. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool, but Marathon for me was better. What do you think?
I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, you didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
All
Alright, we're gonna skip Rob here because he didn't see it. But for me, honestly, I thought it was also okay. I liked Marathon better as well. I think it's just the fact that we've had past shows in past years that just are near and dear to our hearts.
Bill and Ted,
Like-
AOV.
Like AOV and like Bill and Ted, and just some iconic shows were in that actual stage area.
Yeah.
And it's kind of really hard to take the place of that.
Yeah.
So, yes. But yeah, that's pretty much all of
The
the
event,
shows.
pretty much. The shows, the
Yep.
houses, the scare zone.
Yep.
Now we just have a little bit of fun stuff.
Yep. Yep.
And I think we're going to kick it off with the new tribute store.
Yes. So remember before we had that first tribute store that you saw beforehand. But we also got another tribute store,
Which is independent.
which
I like this year's version a lot
Yeah.
better.
which was released for the actual year's event. For
And we didn't know that they were
30.
going to do this.
Yep.
I thought they were going to bring back the same store.
Me too. I thought it was gonna be the same thing, but they went with a whole new vibe, a whole new everything. So,
Yep.
yeah. We have a video for the tribute store.
So, good luck, enjoy your journey, and don't be scared.
Yeah, don't be scared to buy lots of things.
Yeah.
right.
Alright.
So that is the tribute store video of everything that was in the tribute store.
It was a nice store.
You liked it?
I like that. I
Yeah.
really did. I like that store.
Gotcha.
It was a really good design.
Do you like the first one or the second one better?
The second version.
Second version?
I hate to say it, but the first one was like thrown together.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
I like the second one better. I like the haunted house feel.
Gotcha.
I like a haunted mansion-esque feel.
Yeah.
So-
So, yeah.
Yeah, the store was really good. So next up, we're gonna talk about the merch, but we're gonna do a little something different with this one.
Okay.
We're gonna do the merch, but we're gonna show you guys images of the merch while talking about what each image is.
Gotcha.
So we'll see you guys with the photos. Hey, welcome back, guys. This is the part of the video where we are going to talk about the Halloween Horror Nights merch. Now, we only have a few photos of the merch because for some reason we can't locate the other ones. But we're going to talk about what we have already. The first one is Frankenstein's Monster and the Bride of Frankenstein Monster shirts. One is for guys and another one is for the girls, as you see pictured above. The next photo for the merchandise is the 30 Years, 30 Fears t-shirt, as well as the hoodie that came out that year. I'm actually wearing the t-shirt for that year, which was a lot of fun. It's a great shirt.
Yep.
After that is the 30 Years, 30 Years drawstring backpack. I think someone we know has this one,
Yeah.
but I'm not 100% sure.
I'll do the last one. This one's the 30 Years, 30 Fears picture frame, shot glasses, and socks. I actually am wearing the socks right now, and they're very comfortable.
And we've come to the end of the merchandise.
Okay.
Now we are going to talk about the food for Halloween Horror Nights. Again, only certain selections are being used, as all photos from certain foods cannot be located. So, the first one is Poison Tea Party. Iced tea and lemonade rum punch with huckleberry and allspice, with a large slice of lemon on top. Located at Haunting of Hill House cart near Kid Zone.
Right. Alright, the next one is the stuffed brisket grilled cheese, brisket, pepper jack cheese, onions, and tomatoes on a country loaf.
There is also a more tamed version of this if you are not a fan of spice and heat. There is one called Luke's Old Fashioned Grilled Cheese, which is pretty much a plain grilled cheese sandwich in a loaf-style bread with garlic butter spread, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's your grilled cheese.
Obviously.
Alright.
The next one that you are seeing is the black and white Monsters Bride of Frankenstein ice cream cone with sesame seeds. So it's chocolate ice cream with vanilla ice cream mixed, sesame seeds mixed in, located at Universal Monsters Cafe.
Delicious.
Alright, our next photo is the Bride of Frankenstein black and white donuts, located at Universal Monsters Cafe. Again, white icing dipped in hot chocolate to give a nice Universal Monsters appeal. Once again, located at Monsters Cafe.
Alright, the next one we got is the Leatherface Cherry Pie, located in the Leatherface cart.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, located in New York.
Yep. That's also burnt the heck out of Luke's tongue.
Oh god. Yeah, that shit hurt. Ugh. Okay. Next up listed is one of our classic favorites from Halloween Horror Nights, the Pizza Fries, located at the Kid Zone Pizza Company. It is French fries with pepperoni, marinara sauce, fried mozzarella, and sausage.
Delicious.
Again, located at the Pizza Company in Kid Zone.
And the next one after that is going to be the S'mores Fries. It's going to have marshmallow, chocolate drizzle. They actually put a little bit of salt in there, and they're also potato fries.
Sweet potato.
Sweet potato fries. Yeah.
Also located at Kid Zone.
Yep.
Alright, the next one we have listed is the Pumpkin Guts Vegan Dish. It has zucchini and squash ringed with toasted hazelnuts and pumpkin seeds. Located at the Wicked Growth Realm of the Pumpkin-themed kiosk near Amity and Fear Factor Bridge. This is actually really tasty.
And the next one is a hit one. It's the Jack Donut Slider. Beef patties with bacon jam and American cheese on bourbon glazed donuts. Also located at the New York part.
These were actually really good. I can give my input on these. The first night I tried them, I immediately fell in love. And they also come with those baked potato chips, which are freaking amazeballs. Alright, the next one is an actual drink. It's called a beer float. Blood orange cider and peanut butter chocolate milk stout with vanilla ice cream and whipped cream. Located at the Revenge of the Tooth Fairy cart in Production Central across from Monsters Cafe as well as the stage.
Sounds so interesting. Alright, the next one is the Twisted Tater. There was the traditional and specialty flavors, including the ghost pepper and blood and guts with chili and roasted red pepper queso. It was located over in the Beetlejuice cart as well as the Monster cart.
Alright. The next one is actually a real treat. I tried this one as well. Shattered Glass Candied Apples. Candied apples dipped in sugar glass with a little coat of red to simulate blood on the apple as well as on the shards of glass. This was actually really sweet. I tried this with one of my friends while she was here visiting me for Halloween Horror Nights, and we both shared one, and these, again, amazeballs. These candied apples are located at the Revenge of the Tooth Fairy themed kiosk, again, across from Monsters Cafe in Production Central, also located near the stage.
Alright, the next one is the Jack Jar Cake, located in the Tribute Store. Looks like it's actually chocolate cake or whatever.
Kind of like a chocolate mousse.
Yep. And then we also have the Chance Cake, Jar Cake, also located in the Tribute Store. Looks like a red velvet cake.
With blue icing.
Yep.
The next two that you will be seeing, the first one, Frankenstein Cupcake at the Halloween Horror Nights Tribute Store. It is a chocolate cupcake with an Oreo topping and green dyed icing with 2 marshmallow sides that look like the bolts on the Frankenstein's head. Also, bride wedding cake at the Halloween Horror Nights Tribute Store. A small bloody cake, white cake, kind of like a wedding cake, with a large chocolate covered marshmallow on top.
Alright, the next one is the Graveyard Cupcake at the Halloween Horror Nights Tribute Store. Basically symbolizing Beetlejuice. It's a chocolate cupcake with different color icing, with a rest in peace.
Looks like an edible tombstone.
Edible tombstone. The next one after that is the Pumpkin Cocoa Bomb, also located at the Halloween Horror Nights Tribute Store. It's just a nice bomb that you can put into your milk or whatever and make hot cocoa.
Basically looks like a solid piece of shell chocolate with chocolate cream filling in the middle.
Yum.
The last and final photo that you are looking at is the Dracula's Kiss, located at Voodoo Donut. It is a white powdered donut in the middle with blood cherry jelly with 2 vampire bites on the top. Once again, located at Voodoo Donuts. And that is the end of our food portion of the video.
Yummy. And there was also the refillable cup that you could buy in any of the carts as well as any of the restaurants. And the price for it was $16.99 for 1, 2 for $15.99 each, or 3 to 6 for $13.90 each, which is the best value if you had other people needing cups. I bought 3 of them.
I have 2 of them.
Alright, so that was the merch basically and the food that you guys just saw.
And next up, I guess we could do the map.
Yep, let's show
We'll show you
everybody
guys the map.
There's the photo. Alright, so I just sent all that. That was the map.
That was the map.
Um,
Hope you found your way around.
Yes, through the scare zones and to the houses.
All right.
And we also have a picture of the archway. So this was the very first thing you ever saw, basically, before you went to the event.
It's pretty much the same as it's been the last few years with the steel gates preceding the posters. This time they actually had some of the original posters out there.
Yep.
And also, at night it had some cool effects, but when we took this photo, we did not get a chance to catch the lighting at nighttime, which I forget even what it looked like at night.
Had some light effects and looked like vines, but it was like in the shape of a
Oh,
light
yeah, that's
or whatever.
right. That's right.
But it was pretty cool.
It's been a while. It's been a whole year.
Here's the pic. So that was the archway.
And now, I think the next one we should do the ceremonies. Get them started up. Like we said, Jack the Clown came back to announce his arrival at Halloween Horror Nights this year. And we actually got to watch a lot of cool views of the video, especially watching the fire go off. But we're going to show you guys exactly what we experienced walking into the park.
Yes.
So, good luck.
Yep. Enjoy his friends.
Yeah, Tasmaniacs.
Did you miss me? That's right, kids. Jack is back. I'm here to be your caretaker of the kill, your director of demented destruction. I'm back to usher you into a celebration of gore-filled storytelling. It's time to face your fear, to take a chance with Lady Luck and see if you can survive the mayhem of my Carnage Factory! Are you ready for those gates to open? Let me hear you scream! I am the fright in your night. I am the true icon of horror. I am your nightmare fuel. I am Halloween
So that was the ceremony.
We actually have a secret for you guys. Or not really a secret. We actually have something special.
Yep.
We have a video that was shot from last year, believe it or not. Or should I say the year before, of a specific house that was being built. And we didn't get to see this house until 2021. So here's a behind the scenes video of Puppet Theater, a captive audience.
Yep. They're also they're going to be with Greg Nicotero, the director, Micah Yellow, and
Charles Gray.
Charles Gray,
Creative designers.
So you'll get to see all that stuff. So enjoy, guys.
Halloween Horror Nights. Every year, this amazing event terrifies thousands of guests at Universal Studios Hollywood in California, Universal Studios Florida in Orlando, and other Universal theme parks around the globe. With incredibly detailed haunted mazes and streets, filled with horrifying characters, the parks are transformed into living nightmares. So lock your doors, turn out the lights, and get ready for a look inside Universal's Halloween Horror Nights.
This is for real. Make a sacrifice.
Hey everybody, my name is Michael Aiello and I'm the Senior Director of Creative Development for Universal Orlando Resort. And I'm standing inside one of the amazing mazes for Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights. We are in preparations to bring you the best Halloween Horror Nights event you've ever seen for 2021. And today we're gonna give you a sneak peek inside one of these haunted mazes. Coming along with us is a dear friend and collaborator, award-winning executive producer and director Greg Nicotero is going to join us as we experience Puppet Theater Captive Audience. So Charles, we're really excited to experience this. Where are we?
We are in the Grandeur Theater in San Francisco, turn of the century 1900s. This place has collapsed. And inside, this puppet troupe, Pesky's Puppet Troupe from the Eastern European era, has come in to set up shop. Right as they were exiting, the Gurian Ballet was also here. So these two groups have been, and some patrons and stuff. When this collapsed, they're all trapped. They all start losing their mind, and the puppet troupe begins taking the patrons, cutting them up, turning them into puppets. It's super gory in this house. Yeah. Yes, we all love that. Very, very creepy. We have all sorts of different kinds of puppets. Any kind of puppet you can think of, we have here. I mean, there is puppets.
Wow.
What? Yes!
To be or not to be.
I'm still rehearsing. You enjoy the show.
I noticed the mirror motif.
Yes.
And you got the broken mirror here, and you come to this one, and of course you're expecting it to be broken and see a reflection, and then boom.
This is something great that the decor team did. Everything is matched and mirrored on either side. So
Yeah.
you see that reflection, but the character, as you can see right here, there's nothing, and that character just appears.
It's really clever, yeah. I love this illusion.
This curtain is one of our main characters. You'll see this red curtain throughout the maze at different levels. So when you're in the orchestra pit, you're looking up at it. When you pass this rehearsal backstage, you'll see it when they're in the audience. You'll see this curtain will appear many different angles.
The geography of like, oh, now we're backstage and this is happening in front of the curtain, so we're in a different place, which is the reason you have to go through the mazes multiple times.
Multiple times to catch all
Because
the
then
little
you
details.
see different aspects and different elements of it.
So this is another tactic in a lot of the mazes where we're applicable, where we build them, where you do these claustrophobic spaces to bring everything in, and that's kind of your peak in a scare sense. But then you open these rooms up for a moment in these mazes that is almost a reset, but we're still gonna get you.
Right.
And then the foot switch activates the audio.
Yeah, so it's almost like a trigger where you hit it, and then that next line of dialogue comes out.
And also these triggers can cue not only audio, but lighting or a special effect. They really give the characters a really valuable tool to aid in their scare moment.
That is something in the last decade where we've grown leaps and bounds as in show control and have different things tied into a trigger. Now you can time things. You can hit a trigger multiple times for multiple different things to happen.
Wow.
Then this whole place just collapses. So we have a bunch of pressurized fog hitting, and that you hear we have a big subwoofer, and it sounds like everything is crumbling in on you.
To give the guests a sense that they've become in tune with everyone
Yeah,
else.
they're not. No one makes it out of this place.
Are we gonna make it out today?
Well, let's see.
So we are standing here in the Universal Orlando Makeup Lab, and this is where all of the characters, all of the nightmares are created for Halloween Horror Nights.
This is like old hat for you. This is like home, right?
I know. I feel like my desk should be right there.
Yeah.
Today, we're talking about Puppet Theater, Captive Audience, and some of these designs, some of these masks are for that maze.
Yeah, this section right here is just a sampling of some of them. These different vacuform masks worn over. Some will be blacked out, have little mini puppets with them that are coming out. Some will be carrying severed heads. We really dove into puppets, and especially Eastern European traditions of puppets. There's a lot of really cool stuff out there. A lot of that very avant-garde type theatrical performances, and we kind of drew from all these different pieces to come up with these different looks. And painting is such a big part of mask making. You know, how close are we going to see these things? How far away? Are they part of a group?
It's all about the paint treatment, because like what you were saying is that those two are the same sculpture.
Correct.
But what's unique about what you guys can do is you can paint this to look one way and this to look a completely different way.
I like this one too. This is kind of that take on the emotional values of the theater.
Yeah, you got the comedy, you got the drama, and in the middle, it's just the madness.
Yeah.
Comedy, drama, horror.
Yep. That's very cool. The one thing that I've always respected about Halloween Horror Nights is the fact that, Universal Studios created the modern day movie monster, and that lineage and that honor that we have to be able to create under that banner.
I think the most intriguing thing about it is you feel like you want to go through each of these houses multiple times because there's so much to see. Universal Studios and Halloween Horror Nights give us this opportunity to step into it and to be surrounded and immersed in it. What you guys are able to do using not only just fantastic art direction, but great tricks of the trade. It really is, for me, always a joy to be able to see more and more. You process something different every time, so you have a different experience every time you come through the maze. There's just something about things that you have seen in movies or seen on TV shows, and then it's right in front of you. And you have that opportunity to experience what it's like. And with the original mazes, you get taken on an entirely new journey. And you don't know where you're going, which I think makes them a little more fun in a different way, because if the other mazes that are based on IP, you kind of know, oh yeah, I know what this is gonna be. It's still cool to walk through those moments, but with the original mazes, people were walking in completely unaware of what's gonna happen.
We cannot wait for all of you to experience Halloween Horror Nights in 2021, and you're gonna see this maze along with all of the other mazes. Halloween Horror Nights is forever.
All right, so that was
behind the scenes.
That
was a really cool video, though.
It took you basically through puppet theater, let you see a lot of different things even before
makeup,
it was released.
puppet masks, how the house is designed, and
That's really
everything
cool.
like that. So I think the next video we want to show is the Jack the Clown intro video.
Yes.
How they introduced Jack coming back to the event this year.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and jump into that one next.
Some say he's the one behind every scream. Some say he only comes out every few years. And some say he's closer than you think. To mark the event's 30th year, Jack is back at Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. And this year, he's everywhere. In a haunted house, in the dark where you least expect. But the one place he's sure to be is...
in your nightmares.
Okay, so that was the Jack trailer introducing our icon, Jack the Clown.
Yep. I think next we actually have something that we're going to show you guys. It was from the Universal's Cabana Bay Resort. They actually did something called the Jacked Up Experience. It was for UOAP hotel guests have access to an all-new, limited-time Jacked Up experience at Universal's Cabana Bay Beach Resort, where guests get a closer look into the chaotic world of Jack and some of the sinister environments inspired by his past invasions of Halloween Horror Nights. Enter the twisted world of Jack the Clown and take a mind trip through the chaotic carnival of carnage. Pose for photos, go inside Jack's human-sized blender, and undergo a maniacal transformation. Access to this experience is limited to guests staying on property at a Universal Orlando Resort Hotel. And we actually have a teaser trailer for this one.
Yep.
But sadly, we do not have any video.
Just kick it.
All right, that was the jacked up experience that you could basically go to over at Cabana Bay.
It was a lot of fun. I wish we got video of it.
Yep. And
I didn't get to go.
You did? I know.
I didn't get to go.
Sorry about that, Rob. You did have to be at least at one of the hotels in order to experience this
They got me a room key, so I
event.
can go.
So we ended up getting a room key for Luke to be able to go and experience that.
It was really neat. I liked it.
Yeah,
It was short, but it was really cool.
If I would have known, Rob, I would have got you in. But
Next time,
next time,
we'll
buddy.
do
If something happens, we'll help you.
So we have one more trailer or one more teaser, which
Yep.
is the television commercial.
Yes, this is the actual commercial for Halloween Horror Nights 30.
Yep.
Enjoy, guys.
Can anybody hear me? Let me out! Let me go!
Universal's Halloween Horror Nights, back for the 30th year of fear. Brace yourself for Netflix's The Haunting of Hill House, Beetlejuice, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and more.
Okay, that was the main trailer for Halloween Horror Nights 30.
Yeah.
Overall, what do we think,
I thought
guys?
Horror Nights 30 was really well done.
It was well done.
It was a very well received anniversary, and I look forward to the next one, maybe 35 or 40. Who knows? We're gonna wow with that one.
For the next anniversary, yeah.
I'm excited to see what they're gonna do this year.
Yep, for 31.
We don't know anything yet, so everything's still being mapped out and drawn out and whatever.
But we promise we'll be back on time.
So we hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're going to be signing off now. But before we leave, we're going to be leaving. But there's someone special who would like to say something. So, good luck, guys. We will see you at Horror Nights 31.
Yes.
Until then, Jack, take it away.
All right. See y'all at 31, guys.
Did you miss me?
Hello, kiddos. Inside the box, I do very little but think and think and think until I get such a brilliant idea, I come out and share it all with you. All you Halloween Horror Night fans. So this year, being 30 years, I made sure it's a real party. So now I just get ready for the soiree. And of course, make sure I have enough rooms underground for some unsuspecting guests. I've become so good at it, as you can see. You have come to me to use your whatever, to invite people to come on down and have a good time and play with old Jackie Boy. So as you can see, I am so good at what I do. People yearn to get in my grasp. Me, I'm a hands-on kind of clown. I like to rip and shred and bite a little. Now my brother Eddie, he likes chainsaws. So I made sure and gave him a little space for his own, little scare zone, so he can buzz all he wants. Because, you know, they say I'm the comedian in the family. Eddie is the real cut-up. The friends, the icons. As you can see, we got Chance. And of course, Lady Luck. Now all true icons. And I, Jack, I will be your caretaker of the kill. The director of demented destruction. I will usher you in to a gore-filled celebration of storytelling. So, here in the lantern, here is where you'll face your fear. So take a chance with Lady Luck and see if you can survive.
A little word of advice. Never go alone.